Okay, stop. Go ahead.
Okay.
The roof is on fire. The roof is on fire.
The roof is on fire.
We don't need no water. Let the
Motherfucking burn, motherfucker.
Oh, that was great.
Oh, hi.
Hey, everyone. Hey. This is how Andre usually have fun. Welcome,
roofers, one and all.
You know, I was listening to.
Already?
Wait, I was listening to an old podcast and I forget that I leave my greeting behind. I've forgotten some very special people. So today, because I'm feeling myself like Federer's feeling himself, I'm going to welcome everyone. So good evening, good day, good night, and welcome everyone to 111th podcast. Or some of the haters who be subtweeting us call us for 111th Fedcast. And it surely is a Fedcast today.
Oh my God, is that our nickname? Our nickname is Fedcast? That's great.
Yeah, they were subtweeting me and I caught them. You know, I kind of like let them know. It's cool. That's how we do.
I like
but,
that.
You know, welcome to 100 and everyone who is listening to us from the Twitter land, from YouTube, from Podbean, from iTunes, from Christian Mingle, and certainly let us not forget Nole Fams and the Roofers, because they have just made themselves a brand new category. And we are here to welcome everyone. This is what we are. So before I go any further, let me introduce my two co-hostesses with the mostesses, and we are feeling ourselves today.
I'm feeling myself.
Feeling myself, yes. We have Andre from Solely Tennis Travel. How are you, girl?
I'm good. I'm awake. That's already a big deal.
Was that some shade?
Yes.
Let it be known, people, for the second week running, the third week running, this is all Janina's fault. Okay? This isn't color people time. This is just Janina time.
What were you doing? Were you sleeping?
I was knocked the fuck out.
How could you be sleeping in the middle of the day? You got children. You have children.
I also have a PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good deal.
That makes sense. How are you, Janina from Foreign, Ohio? How is it going, girl?
I'm good. You've woken me from my slumber. I will be exiting in a few minutes to go make coffee.
Oh.
Just so you know.
All right.
Otherwise, this could get ugly.
Mm-hmm. Honey, it's already ugly.
I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm going to sit on my hands so I won't be caught waving at anyone. All the folks who are listening to us. We have Tony. We have Yvette. I know Deb will not be missing this podcast for sure. Yes. And we have Master Eights. In case I miss anyone or myself.
Maya is here.
Oh, I haven't seen Maya, but let me scroll up.
Deb's here. Who's HY? Reveal yourself, HY.
Yeah, maybe HY, you're a roofer. Are you a roofer, HY? Oh, I do see Maya. And let me just, before I go any further, let me just thank Bridge P, because she came up with the term roofer. And I'm just going to give her all the credit. I don't care if someone else created it before, and roofer does exist as a profession.
Hey, random guy.
In Tennys, it's all Bridge P. DJ Summer 21. Hey, random guy. And I'm not even waving at you. So, ladies, we have so much to talk about this week. And I'm going to keep us on
Master Ace. We're not going to start with the men. We're going to start with the women.
Oh, no. What did he want us to
start
with?
Well, there's just so much to talk about.
Okay.
He wants us. I don't know why.
We have.
No, just no. We want to end on a high note.
Thank you. He's so wrong.
She's angry, okay? Y'all just woke her up from a slumber, okay? And she's about to be fight full some of your motherfuckers. So just leave Janina alone. Don't be coming for her yet.
Hold on.
She hasn't had a coffee yet.
Oh, oops. I'm a mess.
So, ladies, did you enjoy the Australian Open? It's finally over, which means that we can relax. You know, we don't have to come up with another theme until June. and we should be good and fair and clear. Did y'all enjoy the Australian Open as a whole?
No.
Is that
You did not.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think it's a question we should ask. Would this be one of those majors that we never forget, or one of those majors that we would just quickly forget that ever happened? You know, like
no, it's gonna. We're gonna remember it because we're gonna throw shade all over
like
it. For
2009 U.S. Open, that never happened.
Members.
2010.
No, I thought it was a good Australian Open. Let me just start off by saying I think it was a good Australian Open. I think it was solid it was very, very solid on the women's side. And as always, you know how the men do. They can slump along and then they sneak in at the end and get a lion's share of the media attention because of just who wins. So
right, we have usual narrative, right? The journalists don't have to write anything original. They just roll out and just edit that shit that they've been using since 2003.
Well, no, I mean it's
just change a couple names here and there.
You know, when you have like a Rafa or a Federer winner, it just erases so many needs. You know, you don't wonder whether you have to introduce the person who won or any of those kinds of things. So I think overall, most of the people I've been seeing said that the men's tournament they thought was pretty weak. Even the usual, folks who love ATP will have to admit that there were some ATP shortcomings. I think the women, but in the end,
I didn't notice.
But nobody will notice because at the end of the day, what happens at the very end is what people remember.
Remember, stick the landing, ladies. Stick the landing. Stick the landing. That's all that matters. It's the last thing the judges see, and that's what matters.
That's what happens. I mean, I read a piece about that actually, so we can talk about that later. But yeah, stick the landing. The men stick the landing.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because the Grand Slams never end with culminating with the women's championship or anything like that. Well, they usually have a doubles match afterwards, but then the camera's already gone. Everyone already packed up, No, it's
not even just that. It's like, you know what? People, you talk about sort of the best matches, right? And it's usually, you'll have some amazing match in the beginning of the tournament or all of that stuff. But regardless of what happens, it's hard to keep those matches in mind because it's the last match that you saw that you remember,
right?
Or it's the last match everyone focuses on. So it's the final for the women and it's the final for the men, right?
Right. And it doesn't matter what you did great before if you didn't go home with the trophy.
Yeah, I saw.
No one remembers semifinalists. No one remembers the semifinalists.
It's horrible. I mean, it's kind of like a shortcoming of the whole process because as much as people, I read a bunch of pieces about why the WTA is the best thing ever, which is fine. And it's all about these things that we're never going to forget. And I was like, I felt so sad reading those pieces because I was like, mofo, nobody's going to remember a second or third round match anymore. It's just our minds go.
Yeah, well, the consensus on our live chat is that the ATP was meh. Yeah. WTA was better.
Sure.
The finale saved it for the men's side. The women were solid except for the quarterfinal. Thank you, DJ Sama, because everyone seemed to want to forget that the
quarterfinals were horrible for the ladies.
Happened. It was just But we're happy to see that we all have general consensus. Generally, I don't look for general themes and patterns in these matches. Really, I'm just, did my fave win? Is my fave here?
Where's your fave?
Where's my fave?
Just asking.
And if my fave isn't there, and sometimes I surprise myself because of course my faves are never there wrong. Particularly in WTA side, so I have to watch a lot of matches, where I have no vested interest in anyone across the net. And then I find myself, I'm looking, I'm just like, oh, God damn. And sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. I have to say on the women's side, I have some pleasant surprise, on the men's side, none, because, I've been on the Chung bandwagon for a very long time. So my boot getting to the semifinal wasn't surprising. So no real excitement, didn't really care. I saw no one was tweeting me and saying, Realz had it all along, right? All the time. I just saw Pamela trying to come for my man, trying to say, he weaked out by pulling out because he had blisters upon blisters upon blisters.
Oh my god, did you see that picture?
Wow.
Ugh, gross.
Well, let's go back a
It
little
looked
bit.
like-
So
Yeah, let's not talk about that
let's
yet.
get a little bit to the quarters for the ladies at least. Let's start there.
So
'cause
we had I think on the women's side for the quarters, we had Halep versus Pliskova. We had Shui Shui versus Kerber, I think it was. And we had Mertens versus Svitolina. We had Kala versus, am I right?
No, the quarters is actually Kerber versus Keys.
And Keys versus,
Yeah, quarters.
I didn't
quarters.
even have Kerber.
Yeah, it's quarters versus Keys. Yeah. And then Mertens versus Svitolina, and then Carla versus Woz.
Yeah. And I have to say, like, I mean, some of the matches, I mean, like, ooh. Oh, yes, it was Kerber. Kerber took out Chichu in the fourth round. That was the match I didn't. That was what was happening on Sunday night. Yeah, Kerber versus Keys was the biggest disappointment. I gotta say.
I thought that was gonna be so much better.
Yeah,
like everybody was ready for like a rock and roll kind of like big hitting match, but Keys showing herself again. Whew.
I mean,
What
like
happened there?
somebody got.
Well-
they gotta really talk about that. They have to. They have to address that. That is.
Was it? I mean, Kerber was on form until the
No,
match.
she was not. She was not.
After.
Don't even try that. Don't even try that.
Was.
Kerber was not on form. Kerber just had to put the ball back in court. Kerber didn't have to do anything. In fact, I am mad at Madison that she even
serve abandoned her. Right? She had no serve.
Madison. It wasn't even just silver. I guess if you can look at it like where it's like a Serena, well, not even Serena. Well, I guess if Madison, if a serve isn't clicking, then nothing else click. I guess it's one of those situations because from the beginning of the match, she was down low 40.
I know.
From the jump.
Oof.
She told girl, just take this. And even in the second set, when it looked like she was gonna do something, she just avoided a breadstick. And as soon as she broke Kerber, she was just like, that's all I needed to do. Not be double breadstick. And then nope, that's it. She didn't know. It was really and I don't know. I don't understand this. I mean, like, you would think, but she's only 22. And, you know, maybe that's what it is. But, you know, I'm always harking back to like the 90s and the early 2000s where teenagers were winning majors or at least being far more competitive. Madison had no injury. No, she rolled up into the quarterfinals healthy and she was smoking everyone. And it was just Angie across the net. It was just Angie.
I mean, you can't just say just Angie because Angie's form. Come on, you can't just be shading her like that. It's not just Angie. Angie has been on form. Yeah, she struggled, but she played the best tennis she's played in a long time.
I am not saying no about that, but I'm just simply saying it was a match that Keys could have been far more competitive in.
For sure.
That Kerber possessed nothing except fitness per se and paper. Let's just look on paper, right? On paper, Kerber possessed nothing that could really Madison should have felt like, you know, she was gonna blow me out. Yeah. I can't do this. You understand what I'm saying? She wasn't facing
particularly if you think about the semis. If you think about the fact that Halep, who has in some ways less weaponry, if you think about it, like less of a kill shot, right? Less of a big serving weapon. And if you think about how competitive that semifinal was, you would have picked Madison Keys to have been able to do a little bit more for sure.
Well, apparently she choked.
Well, I mean, like, but you see, I don't know. Maybe these girls need to, you know, this is something I think Richie would say. Maybe these girls need to think it's Serena across the net because they show up for Serena every day. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Because Keys, look, Serena wish she could get some of these easy matches. Yeah, and even though she is heads and tail above everybody on tour. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand this. Like,
she gets plenty of easy matches. What are you going on about?
No, I'm just simply no. Serena gets easy matches because she's on form. She's on fire. Right? These girls are coming out there looking to stranglehold Serena every time. But I guess, you know, it's one of those things that, like, you know, you might fight to beat Nadal, but you wouldn't fight to beat, you know, like, it's like, what's a Grigor win, right? What's a Stan win? What's a win over Stan? What's a win over Angie? But Madison, for me, just like Madison didn't do anything. She can't.
Yeah,
She should have
that was
just
kind
let
of disappointing
Kerber.
for her.
She should have just said, you know what? I'm not feeling well. I got a case of the bad nerves, or whooping cough, or chicken pox, or just whatever.
Chicken pox. Oh my
Because
God.
you know what? The only thing I'm mad at right now is that had Angie not played that bullshit match, Angie probably could have fight a little bit longer against Halep in the semifinal.
That's not the
Since
reason why
Wimp
Angie
said-
lost. No.
Yeah, that's what Wim Facet is saying, right? Wim Facet is like, you know, Angie was playing. Angie is a victim of playing too well this year. Angie played Hotman Cup, boo. She played Hotman Cup on one tournament before.
Listen, the victimization for Angie. Okay, you're gonna jump into the semis. The reason why Angie lost at semis is it's she served for the match. Okay, she served for the match, and then it ended up getting dragged. It's like about being efficient. It's about being efficient. I mean, everyone played Hotman Cup.
Exactly. People don't think about like.
Listen, she got to the final and she got benchage done and done. Didn't take any time. Come on. It's about how efficient you can be. When she finally broke Halep, I was like, yes, serve this shit out. Nope.
You know what? I mean, I guess we gotta roll it back, but I mean, I have to say that before we even jump in all over the place, I was looking at Halep, and it's just like Halep was just like, no, I'm not gonna lose today.
No, she was determined.
Nope, you're not gonna. She was determined, and this is the thing I have a problem with Simona. We probably could discuss this when we get to the final. Is that Simona is like she's bipolar or something?
Why?
It has to be that.
Why? What do you
But
mean?
I'll explain that. And please don't take me to task and say I'm diagnosing, like real medical thing. I'm just talking about in sports-ish
Persona.
ways. Persona land, exactly. But in the other quarterfinals, we had Kerber definitely looked on side.
Halep versus Copless was a drubbing. That was a drubbing. I mean, Copless looks like
Halep was just like easy.
It was easy.
I'm
she
telling
handled
you,
that serve like it was nothing.
She's another one of those players we have to talk about. Where you roll into the second week playing extremely well, and then all of a sudden you just like, whoop.
Copless,
I forgot myself. Yeah.
She's like ran into a wall. I mean, I think it was like, you know what? Halep was anticipating everything she was giving her. And then she couldn't hang around in the rallies. And I mean, it was like 1 or 2 shots and it was over. That's what it was. That match was like, was it like an hour maybe at the most? It's great. It was great for Halep. She needed all that time.
Well, I never questioned Halep's fitness. I just don't. She could do whatever she wants, but I'm never questioning her fitness. She's a fit woman.
Well, I question the fact that she half the time people float the fact that she's injured. The fuck? How could Halep be injured and then she's like, I mean, I was worried about Halep. Again, I'm going to be triggered by the fact that Petra Kvitova came into Wimbledon one year, rolled up telling us that she was unfit and then beat Venus's ass and then took the title.
2014, that didn't happen.
Still not over it. But I'm just like, what is up with the constant narrative that Halep is not quite 100%? And then she goes out there and plays 6-hour matches. I think
she needs something to fall back on, apparently.
I think so.
No,
I think
exactly.
I think the commentators or someone gives her that cushion so that
they can't possibly call out
a little bit of it releases a little bit of pressure, because half the time I'm like, well, what if I guess if she recovers, her ankle's a problem. And
we were we were worried about her for the 4th round against Osaka, and I said nope, not no. Yeah, I don't know Simona, and Simona just brushed Osaka. It's like Osaka didn't need that.
And then she proceeded to brush Copless aside, and I was like, I guess the ankle's fine.
I'm telling you. And even when she had chances, and all throughout her matches, even when her opponents are taking injury timeout, you think she would rest that foot? No, she's in the back walking up and down. Like, girl, sit your ass down. Take a lap, shake your leg, get through it. Okay? Get through that shit. No, you're walking up and down on this allegedly bad ankle. What are we talking about?
So the semis, let's just head in.
But Merton, Svitolina apparently, Janina, the girl who was legit injured. She had a legitimate injury. Because
theoretically, although she didn't mention it until she apparently was having hip issues all tournament, and it didn't really.
That's
get
how
a
it's
lot
supposed to work.
It didn't get a lot of like language. I mean, I didn't see a lot of mileage about it. And then
because
suddenly,
nobody's checking for the Sasha Zverev on the ATP WTA.
Well,
It's just
You
now.
know what? Because
Second
everybody
position.
has some type of
call her Sasha Zverev.
Oh my god.
The Sasha Zverev, look, I'm telling you.
Why don't
Guess
you,
what? Guess
why
what,
don't you
girl?
just call Sasha
Guess
the
what?
Svitolina of ATP?
I mean, actually, either wanted to. No, when I get to the ATP side, I'm gonna call Sasha Zverev the Svitolina of the ATP.
Fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Sasha Zverev of the WT.
Oh no! Yeah,
Disappointed.
Svitolina.
She
She went out with a whimper. I hate.
Yeah, she tries, and you know what, girl? I'm telling you,
Mm.
what's her name? Wozniacki winning is gonna get inspiration to all these ladies when she's in the back. I'll be like, what? Wozniacki getting majors? Look, my turn. I could be up in there.
They
And you-
better.
Can I have Halep? Can I have Halep in the finals, please? Because apparently she's a show.
No, Halep try. So tell me about the finals because I only saw portions of it. I didn't see the whole mess.
So
I saw 3 games.
Oh my God, Janina.
Okay,
You
then maybe we
wake
need
up-
somebody. We might need somebody else because I'm gonna tell people gonna be mad at me.
Oh
The
God.
finals was-
I expect our listeners to come for Realz.
Yeah, the reason listen, you can come
Realz
for
has
me.
a take
You
on
can
the
come for me.
WTA
You
finals
can
that I
come for
think
me.
is,
You can come for me.
is
Okay.
like not a take that we should have. But go for your
Okay.
take. Let's say take.
Come for me. I know. I watched the whole match. I did. In fact,
Mhm.
I watched the match in multicam. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I watched what was going on in the middle, and then at the two sides, I saw what both players were doing individually. You know, the camera was panned on them. I thought, whatever. Anyway, did not enjoy this. Maybe because I didn't care who win. I mean, I wouldn't have mind Halep win, and then she probably would have said some dodgy thing about, you know, that what's that evil, stupid guy, nasty.
Real nasty.
And then I would have been pissed off.
Nasty.
You know, Wozniacki just rubs me the wrong way. And I just like her being a slamless #1. I just kind of like it that
You
way.
can't hold that over her anymore. I love it.
I can't hold that over anymore. I just can't. I mean, I can't. But you know what? Hey, just the way things are. But you know, I really didn't care for either one of them winning. I would have liked Svitolina to would have won. I wouldn't have mind. Actually, I would have mind Keith winning because Max should win at nothing. Nothing.
No, really. As long as he's racing, I'm pretty much not there.
Yeah. Actually, I was here for Kala. I was mainly here for Kala.
Nobody's
Can
here
you
for
imagine
Kala
the
and her-
pictures
and her-
after that? She would have had on
But Kala
pantyhose
messed
and
up.
kitten heels.
No.
With her hair blowing.
I had a
in
word
the
with
wind.
Kala already.
I
We
would've
don't do
loved
kitten
it.
heels anymore. Kala's gonna do pooping shots. She's gonna be nice. Pants. I talked to
Anyway.
Kala about that. She was fixing it. But anyway, Kala messed up in the quarterfinal because Wozniacki was ripe for the taking. But you know, Kala be like sleeping through matches, right? She'd be like, "Oh wait, I'm losing. Look, you got my shit together." Let me try
And
it.
then
So
before you know it,
Kala
it's
kinda
too-
messed up.
Too late.
It's too late. But finals, yeah, it was. I mean, these matches, honest God, this was on Halep's racket.
Yeah.
This was on Halep's racket. She has a bigger game. She's bigger on both wings. You know, Wozniacki 2-hand, which she's trying to just tell everyone is a full hand. That shit don't do anything. And we know Wozniacki's gonna try run you down for a ball. You know, they call her the golden retriever. I don't think that's a really nice name, but you know, people think it's cool. Golden retriever of the.
It's
And-
the perfect fucking name. What are you talking about?
I don't know, just you know, I call her Danish biscuits in the past, so I don't know. I can't be judging you at all. I can't be judging you, but I mean, I guess everyone was. Everyone was trying too hard to make this an entertaining match. But the thing for me is that Halep wasn't playing smart tennis, and Halep was just being messy. There were too many non-offensive rallies for no goddamn reason. People going to they're being defensive, but you don't gotta be defensive when you're not out of position. Okay. You can't be in the middle of the court and playing defensive. You just, there's no need for that. Halep would see Wozniacki going to one side and hit the ball to Wozniacki. I was like, sweetie, we have the whole fucking court. Sometimes Halep plays like she's a 6-foot woman, like she's 6'2". She has a big game, big serve. Then she comes in and act like she's 5'1". And it's just like, it was too messy. Wozniacki was not going to do anything but just be a wall. And that might be interesting and fun tennis for some people, but for me, it really wasn't. Halep started off really slow. Yes, she walked her way into the second set and she had a break early, I think, in the third set. And then she was leading 4-3 and she was serving for a 5-3 lead. Simona was just like, not really interested anymore. Nope. I'm just going to do Simona serving to stay in the match. Serve the first double fall. The only double fall. Of the entire match.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
And you know, like and the other thing to know,
typical fucking Halep.
Quiet as it's kept. Quiet as it is kept. None of these women were injured. They just kept calling the trainer out there to get a mental timeout.
No, you can't
if you
that because
you
Halep
can't
went
be,
to the hospital
you can't
after.
be. Halep went to the hospital because Darren was like, "Girl, we got to check your fucking mind out because you were doing some motion alcohol." Every time Halep has an overhead, it's like, "Look, where is Wozniacki? Let me hit it to her." And you know what? Why Halep lost that point? It's probably because Wozniacki was overrunning the ball. That's what it was. She just kind of like she couldn't get a good racket on it. Wozniacki nearly all the time got a racket on those shots. And yes, look, you can't tell me they're calling the trainer. Wozniacki got the trainer to put a piece of bandage below her knee. Girl, who do you think you're fooling? Who do you think
She
you're
said
fooling?
it works for Rafa.
She put, and I mean, look, let me tell you, that trainer spent probably 20 fucking minutes putting a piece of bandage underneath Wozniacki, and it ain't cut. There was no cut. And look, Wozniacki game is built on moving
back. She got her equilibrium back. She was like, "Whew, this moment's tense. Look, I need some time out."
Exactly.
It was a V timeout.
Look, your game, you cannot be injured out there when both of these ladies' game is built on fitness. And nobody had a wheelchair rolling out back and forth. No one was slow. No one was slow. Those women ran a marathon in that entire match. So
you know
I'm
what?
not here for any of this mess. I'm not here for any of this mess. Look, Wozniacki won and she's excited and whatever, and she's blonde, so she's gonna sell well, and she's already been in this position before, right? She was a number one for many years. Turkish Airlines is gonna give her back a contract, and Woz girl. Congrats, girl. But let me just say, this finals was no.
Well,
and he's still relying on it
was long and it was important. You know, I think one of the things that I think is so important about this final is which we can always talk about how every single match becomes a referendum on like women.
We all know, you see, now that Realz said it, everyone is just like, you're right. You're right.
But the most important thing about the match was that it was long and that it went 3 sets. Listen,
I guess so.
That's important, because at the end of the day, I mean, what the deal is. You know that every single WTA match becomes a referendum on women's tennis. Why? I hate it, but that's just what it is. I mean, it isn't for fans because who the fuck cares? We like who we like. But it becomes this like referendum. And I saw like a Warrior tweet come out from one of the sports coverage things. And I was
could have said Angie was a warrior. I mean, Angie showed up in that to talk about a warrior. Because
but you know what though? It was important. I think it was important. It was important for the narrative around Simona to continue to be that she really is a fighter. Because people have thought that that's been her. Been her Achilles heel, really, is that people think that she doesn't fight. This is what I'm talking about,
bipolar.
So going long, having the match go long and having her scrabble, even if she double faulted, in the key moments, what people are going to want you to remember is that she fought hard, right? That she beat Angie in that compelling semis.
I'm not even going to talk about that messy semifinal because, to be honest with you, Angie had no business being part of that conversation. Halep again.
No, listen. Yeah, you're right.
Another match where Halep should have dictated.
Yeah, it's true.
Dictated from the beginning.
She was winning so comfortably, and I was like,
exactly.
Because here's the thing. It was like 90.
Here's the thing.
It was like, shit, it's going over.
Realize. Here is what you realize with Simona. Simona gets annoyed by herself.
Yeah.
So all these girls gotta do, it's just because look, Angie and Wozniacki is not gonna blow you off of the court. They don't have a kill shot. We know they're gonna try to with 20 rallies per stroke.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing with Halep is that you can't try that shit with Halep. You could probably try that shit with Venus and Serena. They might get annoyed in the middle of the rally. They might be off on one of the wings. But with Simona, she's still gonna stick around and be present all the time. But then the problem is that Halep then becomes annoyed at herself because there was no reason Halep
Yeah,
should
it
have
was like
taken
a
control of
set
both
and a
matches from the jump.
A
Yeah.
set and a break up. Halep suddenly listen. I mean, I will say though,
What happened? Actually, when she was up a set and a break in the third set, that's when Wozniacki knee had a problem. So that was just like Simona was annoyed.
No,
She started to talk about
like, let me make her think about it. But it is kind of perfect that both of them took advantage of that moment, right? Because that's their game.
Here's the best part. After Woz got that knee, that little fake bandage, she got a thigh massage and a leg massage. That trainer worked that thigh and that calf. We got the receipts for that. So when everyone is talking about Warrior, whatever the shit be me, and they be trying to pull out Fonini and saying how they be taking these crazy break and stand and Divadal and whatever. Look, remember, Realz calls out both tours. I've been saying it for a long time. These medical timeouts are not medical timeout because these trainers do not have magic in that bag.
They do though. They do. They have they give you like a break.
Something is wrong with your hip. Something is wrong with your knee. Ain't nothing in a book bag could fix that. We go to the hospital for that kind of shit. We do. Because if that's so, your grandma and your grandpa will have a book bag with them every single way they go, right?
No, but I think, listen,
I mean,
I'll admit it. You know, as a Fed fan, didn't Federer admit what sometimes a trainer, taking a medical timeout can do? You know, gets you a breather. You talk to somebody different. You know, they give you a little bit of
then they need to change the rule and act like legit timeout. I don't understand how tennis don't have this. Ask what timeout, okay? But don't have somebody out there coming wasting good plaster and wasting good gauze. Like,
I need to wrap my knee. Can you imagine though? Can you imagine if instead of like a medical timeout, they just give you the option of having like 2 momentary blips of like, I just need some time.
I mean, this happens all the time in other sport, right? Go take a pee, be like, slap yourself and be like, get my shit. Because I mean, like, look, because here's the thing about tennis. Tennis doesn't care how you feel. The match will go on, right? Yeah, really. It don't matter if you're not, like, you gotta work through your shit. Right? Because that umpire, he don't care how long you bounce in the ball, but he would call time when your ass sits down, right? When you're like, let me sit down and check my notes. Time, you know, like, you don't care.
But nonetheless,
if you played a really long set,
the final happened.
This was a 7-6. No.
But
congratulations to Wozniacki.
But you know what? But also, let's just think a little bit. I bet her perseverance, really, the perseverance that it took for her to continue to stick around, have people call her slamless #1, and then lose all those finals last year. Let's think, maybe this bodes well for the other person who lost a lot of finals last year.
Venus made Venus again. You see what happened here, Venus? You see why you and I be having problems? Because you could have handled Halep.
No, but you know what? Also, let's give props to Wozniacki because you know what? She followed up with the WTA finals in Singapore with a win. That's usually it doesn't bode well for anything, right?
How do you remember that?
Only Serena takes advantage. Only Serena carries the momentum in, right? Because what happened to Sabalkova, what happened to Radvanska, they just trip and fall when they come over here, right?
Yeah, so she carried that she carried the full circle of that narrative, which is to have a really wonderful 2017 in those finals, but brutally lose. Then she finally gets a win against Venus, sadly, in Singapore. And then she comes into Australian Open with the still great form and then leaves with her very first slam. Maybe her only slam. I don't know. Maybe she'll go on a run. I don't know. She's been in a ton of finals, so why not? Why can't this be the start of a great year?
According to the folks on the live chat, they're like, the umpire don't even care if you're eating a banana. They don't care. They're calling time. And Coco Vandeweghe was not having any of that shit. Coconut was not having any of that.
That's a new rule. That's a new rule. I think somebody was fixing their ponytail.
Oh shit!
They were fixing their ponytail before the match, and there was a time warning called because they want to start everything on time. You know, they don't care.
Remember Rafa back in, I think it was Argentina, when he said Carlos can't watch his matches anymore. He was just like, I'm trying to change my pants. What's wrong with you? My pants was all backwards. You gotta.
Well, I think didn't
I
Rafa,
don't care. Don't care.
Didn't Rafa get a warning, or was it, or maybe it was Nick Kyrgios? I think got a warning before even the start of the match. I mean, this weird new rule they have where you've got to start on time, and if you're not on time, then it's like a warning. It's weird.
We let Cilic bounce for like a whole fucking year. We don't say shit about that. I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand how you're checking time before the match start. Before the match start, you are on time, but you gonna let them motherfucker over there bounce for like for a minute.
Okay, wait. I have an obligation. There's somebody that follows me on Twitter all the time, and he's a massive Caroline Wozniacki fan, and he's always trying to get on the podcast. And his name is Loving Life 23061. I swear, I don't know how he found me because I'm not necessarily a Wozniacki fan, but for the last year and a half, I've been soothing this man or this person about how Wozniacki's gonna do. I think it's a man. Like every time she falters, I'm like, just keep on cheering her on, man. So I promise.
I mean, from an objective point of view, everything that you said.
So, Loving Life 23061. Congratulations. You know, you were the long-suffering Wozniacki fan. I mean, he was hating her when she was only doing swimsuits, okay? Swimsuit issues.
Oh, shit. Shade.
Well,
I didn't know there were hardcore Woz fans out there.
There are.
Exactly.
No, I'm kidding. Of course I knew.
I mean, I don't see him present, but you know, Chad is a hardcore David Ferrer fan, and I mean, like, shit, he only been to one final, and Cara has been to 3 now. So hey, she gotta have a real fan somewhere. And I mean, like, legit, she has been the #1 player. She did it, like she was playing all the matches. I know that she's been sensible on her schedule. I know she could be like, you see, I don't give a shit, my daddy.
So who gets?
I'm gonna still follow whatever daddy said.
Who gets the credit for Caroline's transformation?
Caroline.
Sasha or her? Because I mean, listen, Sasha was with her all.
Serena's absence. Serena's absence.
You're a mess. Serena's absence. Okay.
I'm just saying. Serena, being the good Judy that she is, would have never let this happen on the WTA. Would never. Nope, Caro. Nope, not Caro.
Who is David Lee?
Ask Pamela. I think it's the post who's working with her. Sasha Bajen.
Sasha helped her all last year, right? I mean, according to the numbers, he helped her ramp up.
Does that mean Osaka wins next year?
Listen. Hey, Sasha's gonna be the new
third round. She got out of the third round.
The new big thing. You gotta give a male coach some credit somewhere. So I'm just saying, we gotta give Sasha his props for helping her get to this point, right?
Apparently, Pam said, David heights and power helped Caro serve. I mean, that's all. She had 6 double false people. That's all one doing anything. Simona was just.
The thing that's important for Caroline is not even her serve. Like, get it in, and then the rallies where it gets interesting for her. That's really what it is.
There was some moon ball special. I mean, she can keep the ball. She's not making reckless errors. That's just what it is. She's not making reckless errors. And the problem with Simona was that Simona wasn't trying to finish the point.
Can she though? It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Can we remember something?
Wait, what?
Can we remember something, please?
What?
This bitch ran the New York City Marathon. You are not going to wear her out. She's going to run and run and run and run, and then she's going to fluff her hair and be like, bitch, you want some more? She doesn't get tired. She doesn't get tired.
I mean, she can get deflated, though, when you start knocking those 2 hands back in the court and she can't have any interest. She can't say anything.
No, but I mean, this is a real question, though. For years, people said that Caroline Wozniacki was never going to win a slam, right? And of course, there have been moments when Serena has been out, like, having babies, maybe a little bit of injury. But, like, she had
1 baby. Tony's going to let you know she had 1 baby.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's not like Janet Jackson. 1 baby. Serena's secret baby. No, but like, what do you guys think made it possible for her, really? I mean, I think she transitioned. I think her game got a little bit better. It was
I think she also recognized on the tour that you just have to be consistent. That she can step up and be that consistent player, right? Because in 2017, she was one of the more consistent players.
For sure. And just give yourself a chance, right? Give yourself a chance.
And manage
the draw will open up. Yeah.
Exactly. manage yourself in these majors. Just try to, take your time. Don't overextend yourself beforehand. Because, Caroline was one of those girls. She was training for backyard classic. Oh, there's a tournament in your backyard? Oh, I'm here.
Well, some prize money. Listen, at the end of the day, somebody send Yana Fett some chocolate. That's all I got to say.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yana Fett's looking at the winner going, damn it.
Exactly. You had your chance. And this is the other thing I do see, like some of these people, like a lot of those matches happen on the WTA, right? Where people will look like they were winning it, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh,
yeah,
nope, not interested right now. And I really think that,
well, congratulations.
I saw the last 4
games. I saw the last 4 games, and I felt like that was a summary of the match, and I was completely fulfilled with only seeing the last 4 games.
I don't blame you, because I saw all 3 sets, and I was like, why did I do that? Why?
Jasmine, you shady ass. She added more than just the moon ball to her shot selection.
Oh, no.
That's true. Yes, it is true. I did see there was a lot of moon balls. There were a lot of moon. But she was being smart because she knows Simona was not going to attack this ball.
Yeah.
And that's what she just knew she had to do. Simona was not going to just take on this ball and be like, no, girl, this shit is unacceptable here. Simona never did that.
Well, and that's actually how Angie
felt like she could.
That's how Angie turned the match around against Simona, was because Angie was just all power. She was all power. And Simona was like, listen, I'll just run this ball down. And it was only when Angie tried to change things up a little bit, like give a couple loopy balls here and there, dip the ball up. That's when she was able to get Simona to make a few more errors. So I would anticipate that that's a fantastic strategy for Woz to apply against Simona. You know what I mean? A person without a kill shot who's not going to run out there and you know what I mean?
I don't know. I was talking to my best friend and I was just saying, I don't know. I mean, Simona had a big serve recently, and I expected. What I don't understand is that why Darren, all this coaching, Simona needs to come forward. Simona needs to know what to do in front of a net. She just needs to know how to do that.
It is interesting that she's not that good at that. Remember that year when Vika beat Sharapova? Man, at the Australian Open, she was rushing the net like crazy. And you have to think that they're patterning.
She bagelled that dope part. She bagelled her. Like, she just ran away with that match.
Well, because, she came forward anytime she had a chance to finish a shot. She was done. She was right up at the net. And you don't think of Vika. You don't traditionally think of Vika as like a net rusher. Because Vika could smell
meldonium a mile away because she's from Eastern Europe. She knew that meldonium was coming off, and she was like, we're not doing a rally, girl. We're not doing the rallies here today. We're gonna close this match down.
I will say, I think you have a good point about that. I would love it if Simona came forward more and ended points and not have to kind of have this like prolonged thing go on where.
Because she's fit and she shouldn't have to rely upon this, because you cannot do this 7 rounds in a row. Because if you keep, people are gonna just drag you.
All right. Well,
and the WC just like to stack. Well, but you know what? Let me just put this out there. I mean, should we discuss the issue? No, let's move forward.
We'll do issues after.
About the W.
Yeah, we'll do issues
right
after.
So congratulations, Halep. Halep, you showed that you are back in it. Last year you got knocked out in the first round, I think. Shelby Rogers, where are you now, girl? Where are you, Shelby? And Simona gets all those points, and she remains number 2. Caroline, congratulations.
Fantastic.
Number 1 with a major. You did it in fine style, like how Angie did it. Like there's no other way to do it. But collect
Janina, you can't drag Caro anymore. She did it the legit way.
Yes, I can. Whatever.
Janina, you've always said, I need you to take the number 1 with a title. She did it. Give her that.
She did it. And Wozniacki, Master Ace, has pointed out to me repeatedly, several times, in fact, I will give you credit, Master Ace. She had a good draw. The highest ranked player she faced was 21 before the final. So
it's all good though. Listen,
she walked in.
Matter.
It's all good
because you know what?
I mean, like sometimes look for Caroline.
Kerber faced keys and it was nothing. So what does that matter?
Exactly. That number don't mean shit.
Like her. You know what I'm gonna say? This is my final thought on that final. I'm really glad that she didn't take her visor off to accept the trophy. because she looks a lot prettier with it on because she's got a massive forehead.
You're such a bitch.
It's a 5-head. It's a 5-head.
Let me tell you something right now.
No, I genuinely thought about that. I was
let
like,
me tell you something right now, Janina. I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna come for you right now. I will not let you take Caro's moment to critique her looks. I will just not do that. I won't.
I already did it.
Because you know what? To be honest with you, she looked a lot better than she has in other major final because she usually show up in some ace bandages look that Stella McCartney.
Good for her.
I hated
we're moving on. We're moving on because you are not taking away this woman's moment. You're a mess.
Let's talk about the men.
All right.
So on the men's side, things sort of like shaped up. I guess a little bit on all around. I think it was we meant. I noticed everyone told Chung he should play on, but nobody told Rafa he should have finished out that 5th set with a bagel, did they?
I know.
No one said that. No.
Stop. So our quarterfinal,
no all.
Rafa versus Cilic. Let's just remind you, Rafa versus Cilic.
Dimitrov versus Hian.
Edmonds.
Yeah. I got my draw all mixed up. Dominic versus Tennys. No, it's the 4th round.
No, quarters.
It's Tennys. Sangren versus Hian.
No, yeah.
Tennys versus Hian.
Yep.
And Federer versus Berdych.
Yep.
Berdych's hair looks great.
No, it does not. Don't even try.
I like it. I like it.
I would not have you. I tell you what, Berdych hair looking like old Berdych playing old tennis. You can't come for Berdych hair. You can't come for Caro hair and then tell me Berdych hair looks good.
Berdych is pretty.
Berdych's hair looks like it's like you know that look that when you
old Berdych. It's the old Berdych.
You don't wash your hair and it's like got oil on it. That's what Berdych's hair looked like.
Berdych hair looked like when he was dating Lucy.
He's sweaty, yeah.
That was when Berdych was dating Lucy Safashafa. Remember when Berdych was dating Lucy? He was messy. He looked sloppy. And then he dated this model girl, and she was just like, "No, boo, you are not walking next to me looking like a hot mess."
That's his wife.
A stylist. But you know what? But that was when they were dating. But you know what happened to Berdych? Berdych game started to suffer when he started to be more model-like. So Berdych realized, get my hair being messy, and I'm back to
Wait, your theories are fucked up.
That man
but anyway, I have to say,
it is fucked up because Berdych was playing good tennis this tournament. He was playing good tennis.
But you know what?
Y'all were so worried about Berdych running into Federer.
You know what, though? Because Berdych has Federer.
Federer was worried about Berdych.
It's been a long time. A long time.
Did you watch the match?
Yes. It was a tricky. It started off real.
It's a tricky match. It was a tricky match. You know what? Federer only won that match because Berdych became Berdych.
And also, it's also important to know that Berdych was. I mean, Federer revealed this, which I didn't know. Federer revealed that Berdych was injured from Lever Cup on, which I thought was really useful information. He's like taking notes. And then he said that Berdych was actually the fittest he had been. And listen, and he handled Delpo like it was nothing. So I expected Berdych to give Federer more of a challenge than he ended up doing. And then midway through the match, I think he also tweaked his hip. So there were some saving graces in that match, to be honest.
Because that match started out and I was under pressure. I was like, oh my God, this is Olympics all over again. Oh my God, this is US Open all over again. Berdych,
how long ago was this?
Listen,
Federer fans have such long memories.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me.
You know that Sunshine Slam? That Sunshine Slam that we celebrated last year when Federer beat Nadal 3 times in a row? Berdych almost put a paid on that shit because Federer was on the road.
But he didn't.
Federer was on the road.
It was 2004. Hold up, wait a minute. 2004? Is that what Master Ace is saying? 2004 is the last time Berdych beat Federer? Because if that's the case, y'all better shut the front door.
2010. He beat him at the US Open 1 year.
At the US Open, and then he also beat him at Wimbledon in 2010. Listen, it doesn't matter. You guys are matter.
Not you guys, just Janina.
You know what is so funny about Janina? Janina's like, I'm not worried. And then she gets up. She's like, "Oh, this is harder than I thought it was gonna be."
She calls me and tell me she's worried. I'm calling you out. Don't be trying to play us out. Don't be trying to play us on the air.
You are lying right now. I never called you and said I was worried about Berdych. I told you to relax. Why are you trying to make shit up?
No,
you know what? I'm cutting off your 8 a.m. phone calls for a week. You're on punishment.
Look, Berdych game matches up well with Federer. Okay. I just don't think Berdych believes this all the time.
Not anymore, yeah. You're right. He
doesn't believe it all the time.
Motherfucking years.
Since 2013. I just looked it up. Berdych hasn't beaten Federer since 2013 in
Dubai. It's a lifetime in the world of sports. A lifetime. Y'all are tripping.
It feels like, you know what it is? Listen, I know, you're right. But, there's nothing to convince you about a fan, right? Like, Rafa, listen, Rafa owns Fed for years. No matter whether Federer beat Rafa the last 4 times, you still get triggered when you see him like, oh my God, it's going to be a repeat of that.
Yes, you know.
That's because Rafa is a completely different caliber player than
No. I'm going to say, honestly, I watched the match. Berdych did play. He played well coming into the match, and he played well in the match.
A 7.5 or 7.5.
He was troubled. Federer, but he was troubled.
You know what? Let's move on.
There are 2 things that you can always count on Berdych is that he wouldn't stay focused, and this is what separates the sheep from the goat on any kind of sport, right? Everyone is talented. A lot of people are talented. Some may be more so than others, but do you have it on the big points and when it counts? And Berdych, Federer, Federer and Nadal and Djokovic and sometimes Stanley every tournament every year, they are in it, and you can't push them away no matter whatever you do. And Federer, they can call upon this more often. Berdych doesn't really have that. He started out, he was playing a better game than Federer. He was covering every shot. He was in the net. He was there. But he kind of let up, and then I guess he probably tweaked his injury, so he feels like he couldn't move. And when you see Federer behind him, Federer isn't giving you any time to relax. He's ready for the next point. No matter if you play 26 rallies, Federer is ready to play the next point. So he doesn't allow you time. And I think that's what the advantage Federer has over Berdych.
Well, let's just talk about the splat. Let's just talk about the match that went splat, which I think is Grigor versus Edmonds. Like, what the fuck happened to Grigor in that match?
Listen, I didn't watch it. I woke up and I was like, wait a minute, what?
Honestly, I
Danny
think
was losing his mind.
I didn't expect that at all. Not at all.
Do you know what though? It's so funny, right? Because we talked about the fact that we talked about the Nick Grigor match and how on top of everything Grigor was. Like, his serve was like 80%. That was not the case that he brought into the Edmonds match. It was back to double faulting Grigor, serve a little bit wonky. He just got bossed around sometimes on the baseline. Like, Edmonds was able to just get in so many winning shots that it was just kind of like, wow. He just made Grigor look a touch slow. And I have to say, I had to wonder if that was kind of like a come down for Grigor. Like, he built up the Nick match as the match that he needed to get through. And then he just kind of like slept on the Edmonds match. And then also it was in the heat, so he was very grumbly and everything. But it was a real shocker, that match. I think he just turned in such a poor performance overall. But then
he was suspect from the beginning of the tournament.
He has like a shoulder injury already.
Oh, when he was playing Mackenzie, he was shaking that wrist though. He was like, my wrist. I guess he had to tell Danny something, because Danny was losing his mind. And Danny wanted to punch him in the throat. And I think if the coach is getting visibly upset and he knows that there is no injury, Grigor just dropped the ball. He dropped the ball. And Grigor is not going to have many of these opportunities because...
No, but listen, I still think this is a good year for Griggs. I really do. It's still a transition year. It's still a good year for Grigor. I mean, I would have picked it. I think I just don't. You see,
I think for me, why I'm not comfortable with Grigor is that, one, you dated Maria Sharapova. Like, what the fuck? 2, my main issue that I think Grigor doesn't understand strategy. You can only get one idea in his head at a time. He doesn't see the court. Like, he just doesn't play his tennis smart to me. And to me, like, so he could benefit from a really good coach, not necessarily who's going to get the fitness right, because he understands exercise, right? Grigor do 20 million push-up. He can get that done.
20
right? Well, over a lifetime, I imagine, get that done. I'm willing to. I'm willing to check, stick around and supervise that mission. But hey, don't judge me. I'm a thought. But when it comes to strategy, because you know, like he can only understand to beat Nick for him was some revenge grudge match. He came up with like this was some hateration. I'm gonna fuck Nick over. I'm gonna fuck Nick over.
They planned it.
Not necessarily
did well,
but it's just like I'm going to be But I mean, you Kyle Edmonds, Grigor, it's Kyle fucking Edmonds.
Leave it alone.
It's Kyle Edmonds in the quarterfinals.
It's a
Rafa
gimme.
is not on your side.
It's a gimme.
Rafa
He gave it right back.
It's just like this was. I mean, I didn't even know who else they could put there. I didn't know you could put there. I don't even know. Fonini?
It was a serve. Maybe? His serve let him down. But that's always the problem with Grigor's serve, right?
He could generate no momentum.
None.
He was losing nothing. He was just like a hot mess. He barely eked out that he barely. I think he won a tiebreaker.
I think he barely eked out a set. Yeah, like it was, and it was lucky.
Looked like the one with the pedigree.
I know.
Edmund looked like Edmund came onto that court. He's fit. He got in shape. I have to say that Edmund was looking a little pudgy. Eating a little English, put in too many. You know, a little candy. I don't blame you, boo. But you know, if your job is going to be a tennis player, you can't be Marcus Willis. You can't be Marcus Willis.
Well,
and
I think
he got himself in shape and he looked dedicated.
He said that. He said that he trusted himself in the longer match.
Far more comfortable on court.
He did.
Yeah, he looked more comfortable on court. And you could do a little tanning, but he looked great. He looked great. And I have to say, hats off to you, Edmund, to get into the semifinal, making that money.
But it was a blah match.
It
was a blah match.
With Cilic and him?
Just Grigor. I mean, even though I was like really invested in the Grigor's Edmonds match, ultimately it was kind of blah. And I think the same for all the matches leading up.
Yeah, I think the men. I think until we got to the final,
really
I think it was kind of blah because everything that sort of like that was being hyped up just sort of like wah wah wah.
It never really happened. Like the Grigor. I mean, it didn't.
That
really
ended
happen.
prematurely, you know.
So
and
the Grigor Rafa match, like not the Grigor, the Cilic Rafa match, like so Rafa couldn't finish the match, huh? It's too painful.
He couldn't. But we'll be ready for Acapulco. We will be ready for Acapulco.
I have to say that as someone who has observed Rafa for many years, I think it's quite nice that his team has become more open about the things that are happening to his body. That MRI report came on the news feed swiftly with exactly what was wrong with him and how long it should take him to recover, precisely 3 weeks. So that's good news. That was helpful to get all that.
Apparently that's what happens when you get rid of Uncle Tony.
Uncle Tony might have been the one that was like, don't share information. I saw this big old press release about his injury. I was like, wow, this is a new day. So, you know.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't see that.
I'm sorry.
But you know what? Can I say, why were people pissed off at Cilic for being surprised? Listen, beating a Rafa and even beating an injured Rafa is pretty damn impressive anyway, because of the nature of how Rafa plays. Rafa says he's always injured. Realistically, there's always some niggle with him. There always is. So it's just about how bad the injury is, right?
You never play an injury-free Rafa. You just don't.
Yeah, no, I don't think Rafa hasn't been injured.
It doesn't exist.
Since 2005. So there's always some issue with him. It's just about how much.
Actually, no. Remember, he had broken a bone in 2004, going in 2005. That's why he missed the 2004 French Open.
That's true. Sorry. So this body has been broken for a really long time. You're right. So I think this idea that like Cilic was enjoying that win too much was a bit much.
A win over Rafa is a win, and it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
My God, regardless. I watched a lot of tennis. Do I not have a job? I watched a lot of tennis. I'm gonna call squash for this bullshit. What? Rafa, let's be 100 here. Just between us girls. You know Cilic was not gonna go home. You know Cilic was there and Cilic was in this match.
He believed himself. He believed himself in this match. He thought he could do you.
He believed himself in this match. Yes.
He believed himself.
I know. I looked at the head-to-head. The last time Cilic beat Nadal, it was the first time they've ever met. And that was it. Nadal has been running this mofo ragged up and down all the time. Dragging him. In fact, Rafa had a winning record against anybody he was facing. Grigor beat him one time.
Yeah.
And that was when in 2009, when Rafa was coming back from injury.
Rafa was loving his draw. This was a great draw for him.
I mean,
like, he was definitely
I think the only
final.
person who probably have a winning record against Rafa at this point on tour is probably Novak.
I think so.
Maybe Novak?
Barely, maybe.
Barely.
This is Rafa's the king of the head-to-head, so.
Yeah, Rafa's not afraid of anybody on tour. He even still shows up and face Federer like I could beat him. His problem is that he don't understand how he's not beating him. That's how he gets frustrated.
Anymore. But I mean, like, yeah.
Rafa, I think Rafa was just like, I'm not going to do this. This doesn't make no point doing this. Because even if I did try to beat him, I'm not sure what's going to happen in the
next round
semifinals. And I don't think he felt he would have, because I don't think, let's project Federer into the finals. I don't think he would have felt that he would have been able to face Federer because his body probably would have won. I don't know. He's over 30 now. He's not the same 26-year-old I could play Fernando Gonzalez. I mean, Vidasco for like 1 million hours and then play another 1 million hour match afterwards. So maybe he was being smart. Oh, Nick is 2-0 against Rafa. Thank you, Jasmine.
Yeah, and Novak is 26 and 24. That's the close. Yeah, Novak's the one that. Remember, for those years, Novak kind of owned Rafa, and then Rafa like turned the tide. But yeah, so I mean, I think it was a legitimate win for Cilic because you know what? The difference is that Cilic didn't go away, and Cilic was in the lead. He was in the lead in that set. In that set. So I don't understand why people are like Rafa could have turned it around. I was like, well, I don't know. It seemed like Cilic was
that breaker solved in the fifth set.
Yeah,
that breaker solved in the fifth set. Ass off to try to get that breaker solved. So that didn't come by a love break. He didn't break him at love. Rafa was fighting for the whole serve.
Yeah, and he won the fourth 6-2. So it's not like it was like, you know, I mean,
Rafa
I think
will always fight.
He will always fight. Yeah, but you see, the thing about it is that you can't say, you can't roll off and say he was injured. I mean, like, yes, he retired from the match. But, DJ Sama just schooled you. Rafa is 3-2 on Nick. Oh, for me, it was just like, Cilic had reason to feel that this was a solid win. Yeah. Because he was in Rafa's face for 4 sets. Right? Let's forget the fifth set. For 4 sets. I think Cilic sort of like, and he felt, I didn't even know the sets that he lost. Yeah. Except for the 6-2-6 set. He was there in the first set. He was very much there in it. And look, Rafa's older.
It's a legit win for Cilic mentally. Listen, these athletes, they do what they need to do to salvage their ego in any moment, right? So Rafa can leave the court being convinced that I was injured, so that's why I went down, which is probably legit for him because, hello, he beats them all. But for Cilic, I think it was important for him to say, I hung with Rafa, I pushed him to a 5th set, and I had the
broke him. I broke him.
So
I set him off the court.
Yeah.
No, Stanley Wawrinka, maybe we should have tried that shit against Tennys Sandgren. Maybe we should have done that, right? You got your ass breaststick by this motherfucker. You could have just take the hour. Just say like, oops, I'm done. I am not letting this astronaut beat me, get a legit win over me. I wouldn't have to deal with all this fucking mess.
But I mean, overall, I think, I mean, I wasn't impressed by any of the matches on the men's side.
I wasn't.
In second week, it didn't deliver. I mean, Chung. Well, you know, interestingly
enough, Novak.
Yeah,
took out Novak.
But you know what's interesting? He had that blister the entire time, so he had it with Novak as well.
Playing and he mentioned that.
They mentioned that he had it for multiple matches, and it's just that it got progressively worse. And I guess they actually did some sort of skin graft where they took off skin and then like gave him like pain injections.
And they give him an injection.
And it's so disgusting.
I know.
And plus, when I saw it, he was wearing one pair of socks.
You gotta do the motherfucker. Gotta do the double socks.
What is wrong with hanging out? Listen, you need some of that gauze. You need some of that Cara knee gauze that she got put on
This is the difference between next gen. This is the difference between next gen and ATP, man. This is it. Like, you got to, first of all, he hasn't played that many matches. So to actually play that many matches, 7 in a row, practically trying to get to that final. But you know, the interesting thing for me about the Chung Federer match,
a lot of it might be that, you know, we talk about this thing like feeling you're in the zone.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to stop.
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Never know what will happen, right?
Exactly. You never know.
You never know.
Well, the interesting thing for me about Chung is that I wanted to, it's like, it's great that he beat all the people he beat, but I knew that Novak wasn't like 100%, and I knew that. So I wanted, and Tennys Sangren, I mean, whatever that run is, I mean, let's be honest, it's like some weird miracle run. I know his tennis
it's an indictment on the ATP. I'm just gonna say that. Put it out.
Okay, that's fine.
But
I
fight...
needed to see Chung play Federer so I could understand how good Chung was. Like, that's what I needed, because it's like, that's how you test out, right? You got to go up against the top. And I wanted to say, I was like, okay, I know how good he is with Rublev and all those other kids, but I was like, let me see what you bring to the table. And it was interesting because that's what Federer did, right? Federer exposed the holes in Chung's game from the start. The poor serve.
Well, no,
the fact that he's a massive
it's not the poor serve,
but
it's the inconsistency.
Yeah.
And he's not getting any power. This is what he was facing from everybody else. Everyone else was going to try to hit with him.
Yeah,
Federer
figured that he wasn't going to be able to out hit him. So I guess, he was going to give him dips and change direction, force him to move.
It's a low rent Novak, and I can hang with Novak.
Oh my god! That's what he said. That's what he said. He's like, he plays really like Novak.
But you see,
Federer said that.
Yeah, he says he didn't say he was a low rent Novak. He says that he plays like Novak, and that's his idol. I mean, hello, we're playing people who have Novak as their idol. So
that's really weird.
This is what the problem is. This is what the problem. I think this kind of shows with the ATP, right? Yall, the whole tour has two-dimensional game except Federer.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Grigor, and then occasionally, and a Grigor that can do things, and a Nick. But for the most part, what you're getting are guys who can hit like crazy from the baseline. But if you change the ball up a little bit, give them something else to look at, slices, maybe change the pace a bit, you can get a lot of errors.
You're changing the pace on every single shot. You're not trying to match them shot for shot. And I think that's what Federer did for Chung. And he was already injured. But I have to say, Chung is my boo. I have to say that Chung, one of the things I admire about Chung so far is his mental stance. It's just like, no matter what the scoreline look like, he stays in the match because he had Novak full of. Federer don't even enjoy that kind of advantage. He don't. And Novak, no. He just doesn't. Federer fans never see full love.
Unless he's
Federer,
unless it's Cincy.
Unless we're a tiebreaker. Even then, if it's a tiebreaker, we know that shit ain't gonna last. Like, just be careful. And Chung, there was so many times, again, even when these people are like supposedly injured, they're out there fighting their ass off. You couldn't tell that this is Novak who's injured with an ankle injury as Novak from 2017, 2014, because it looked like Novak was going to take that for a set.
Yeah,
it looked like he had no reason to. Chung was up full love and then had to serve to stay in the set.
I know.
I have to tell you.
Well, Novak looks Novak looks like he better go take a spa retreat with
food. You need to eat bread, boo. You need to eat bread. You need to eat bread. You need to eat bread.
Whatever's gonna put some weight on him because he looks unwell. That he really does. He is way too thin. He
needs to have surgery. I think he might have to have surgery on that elbow. I think he has.
Wait. Hold up.
He hasn't wanted to do it, but I think he said that they might have to contemplate.
Emmanuel, who didn't watch the match?
Which watch?
Emmanuel, you better come correct. Who didn't watch what match? Come on, boo. I watch a lot of tennis. I'm surprised I have a job. I was like, wait, I watch all these matches?
Which match are you talking? Remember, we're online. What match are you speaking of?
Simona and Carol. Listen, O is late.
Okay.
And he's mad because he wasn't here to defend Simona because for some weird reason he's a fan.
Is Simona even 5'10"? I thought you don't support people who
No, she's tiny.
Yeah.
Simona Halep is tiny.
All right, let's get to the finals so we can get to
I did watch the match.
Let's get to the finals so we can get
so the finals. Okay. I'm gonna admit it.
Go ahead, admit.
I'm gonna say it before Janina try to call me out.
All right, go.
I could be a crazy Fed fan if Federer is fucking it up.
Can be.
If Federer, no, it's very specific. It's very specific, right? If Federer is losing from the jump, I could deal. Okay, I could prepare myself. He's losing it. Okay, I could prepare myself.
Y'all don't even know.
But you know, when he set me up and make me think shit gonna go right.
Yeah.
And then he decided to be like, you know, I'm gonna take a little break. Maybe I'm winning it here. Maybe I should do this for the core. I should make this a 5-set match. And you know, always some hater rolls up. I mean, plus one listen to my podcast. So I have a friend who we talk, you know, intermittently. Send me a text message. You think this is gonna go to a 5th set? Bitch, no, we don't want a 5th set. What the fuck is wrong with you? I want a 5th set. I don't care. Tennys can debate later on that this was a blowout, this was a bullshit final, and I'm here for that conversation. Number 20 is real. I'm there for that conversation. Federer rolled over Cilic, and it was 6-love, 6-1, 6-2.
You're listening, right? He's crazy.
We could talk about that later on, but you know what? 20 safely in his hand. You can't take that away from him.
Tell the truth about him, Janina. What happened?
But wait, so I'm going to tell her. I'm going to tell my truth, and then she can tell her lies after, okay? So then my friend, then Janina was like, she was, you know, we talk a lot. So she's DMing just like, oh, Federer needs to wrap this up in 5th set. I was like, bitch, we're still in the 4th set. Don't you dare jinx it and talk about 5th set. We don't need to wrap this up in 5 sets. She was just like,
it was an honest mistake.
She was like, oh, I'm sorry. I need sleep. And then I was like, all of a sudden, Federer was rolling in the deep. And then Federer was just like, you know what? Nope. And then we went 5 fucking games in a row. And Cilic, you know, when Cilic is feeling himself, he's feeling himself. I mean, he's a tall, lanky guy, and he's in your face, screaming in Croatian. And
doesn't he give the best face?
I mean, he does give the best face. After Chung, though, because Chung is in your face. So Chung is just like, yeah, in your face, just looking at you dead in your face.
I don't know.
But Cilic, like, I get paid from Cilic. Cilic was, you know, Cilic, I got scared. And then my friend was just like, boom. He sent me a message that said, boom. I said, like, I can't talk to you right now. Sorry. Nope. I got something to do. No, I'm not trying to have, because you know what? That had happened to me in 2008 when that magical final that said happened between Rafa and Federer.
I don't know what you're talking about. Let's go.
That motherfucker was watching it with me. Exactly. No, like so in the 5th set. And you know, so because you know I watch tennis and I have scores all over the place, right? I was ahead. I was always ahead. And I was like, motherfucker has a break point in the 5th set. And, Federer, oh my God. No, Federer, what are we doing here? What are we doing? And then I was just like, oh God. It's going to be like that 5th set last year, right? I know Federer won it, but Nadal was 3-1. Nadal was up 3-1. He was up 3-1. And I almost died.
And you were freaking the fuck out then too.
Oh, then too. I was. But this time I didn't have company. I was by myself because I knew I would be horrible with people. I just couldn't.
Oh my God.
But Federer, like a good Judy, he is. Federer, like a good Judy, he is.
He dragged himself.
Bring home that breadstick.
It could have been a straight set match.
All I know is that when we are fortunate enough to all be together to watch a tennis match live and Federer's playing, I ain't sitting with either one of y'all because you're crazy.
Yeah, it's true. She's a hot mess. Andre is a hot mess. She's a hot mess.
Don't in Realz.
I'm not gonna take this one by myself. I'm not gonna live this by myself.
Federer, you can't sit with Tony during Serena. Like you can't sit.
I'm a bitch,
Bella,
but I'm just a bitchy Federer fan when Federer's losing. I talk shit. I'm pissed.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, Federer sets you up. Federer kept letting Marin Cilic get comfortable.
Yeah.
Why, Federer? Marin Cilic getting comfortable can hit you off the court. I was there.
He did that in the end of the second set tiebreak. Cilic was starting to feel the ball so big, and I was starting to have like U.S. Open 2009 flashbacks. You know when Delpa was hitting that big ball, and Federer looked like he was a small man being beaten by a big boy.
And you know what I love? When Federer saved the day. Here's how I knew I was kind of like calm. Federer saved the day. 2 things happened, and I was like, okay, then I might just be all right. 1, Federer got angry. And 2, Federer got a challenge right. And I was like, okay, good tennis, Jesus. You're going to come through for me. Federer got a challenge right, and he is pissed.
A pissy Federer is usually an error-filled Federer. And actually, post the match, he said that
I don't like pissy Fed.
Yeah,
oh, no, because you know why pissy Fed is good?
he's lost the second set. He said because he got very, very nervous and he suddenly realized that he could win 20. And then his
Federer is go ahead, Tara.
And then the fourth set, he said he went blank. His mind just went blank, and he just went all over. It was all over the place.
He said that.
He said his brain was really scattered. He was scattered. His thoughts.
Oh my God, he's getting Alzheimer's.
No, I'm telling you. But here's what I love about PC Federer. PC Federer is pissed at something technical. PC Federer tries to get very technical about why he's pissed.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
he always quoting some kind of rule, some kind of technicality. It's never that PC Federer is like pissed at like the sun is too hot or like someone is in the crowd is shouting at him. PC Federer is pissed at some fucked up rule that he got wrong. Because when he was playing, who was it?
Berdych.
Berdych. I'm like, bitch, why we questioning that? You don't get them right. Why you mad you lost the challenge? You never get them right anyway. You might as well start at 0 and beg Berdych to lend you a challenge because you don't get them right anyway.
They should
and then it was just like,
in the middle of a match. Can I get one of yours?
Exactly. I mean, come on now. I know my boy. You know Federer. I just think about it. People got mad because Federer got a call, and then he tell the champ, tell the lines person, "Good call, buddy," and everyone said
it was shit. It was a shit call.
It was a shit call.
You know, Federer is only right by a right? When you get them right, it's only by a like you could understand why this person got this call wrong, right? Because it was just like like a millimeter.
Yeah, and he's
but
like,
this time around the ball line is square. Yeah,
sarcastic.
Good call, buddy. I'm just like,
he's such a bitch.
Look, I know people try to come for Federer, okay, but Federer didn't scream at him. He didn't go over there and shout at him, and he didn't do any of that.
He turned to him sarcastic and was like, "Thanks, bud."
Like a good Leo is like a good Leo. He was just being shady as fuck, and I love Federer for that. When you're shady, you get it right.
He is so good.
Guess what?
Shady.
You know that line's supposed to ain't making no more calls, right? He ain't making no more calls unless that ball is all by a mile. He's gonna be like.
No, I mean, I think the match was really going really quickly. And all I could think about was, oh, fuck, we're going to hear the whole discussion about how this was a crappy match.
I didn't
How
care.
the WTA won the matches. And I was like, we're going to hear this back and forth. And the next thing I know, I was like, why are we in a fifth set? This wasn't necessary.
I know. We didn't even prove it. Four tidy sets could have proven the point. 4 tidy sets have proven the point.
For sure. But you know what? I think it was actually really important for First of all, there's a new Cilic in town, y'all. There's a new Cilic in town. Cilic said
the finals in 6 months.
Listen, and he's declared that his goal is to be number 1. And you know what?
He's never said that.
He's never said that ever. He believes
publicly
that he now has the opportunity to be number 1. So I actually think even though he lost, first of all, and then you hear him talk about this loss, which is like he had his chances in the first game because he's like, I had chances to break. And, that's when the opportunity went away. I was like, boo, you lost 6-1. That wasn't the only chance. But, you know what I mean? I was like, okay. But he really believed that he was in it. And I mean, that's important for him and his ego to believe that. But, of course, as I'm watching the match, it's clear to me that it's Federer's nerves that's giving Cilic opportunities, right? And so Federer is losing points instead of like Cilic winning them. But
yeah, that's true.
Oh, wait, hold up.
But
Cilic said he wants to take advantage of Novak and Murray being out. He said that?
Listen,
you know what? Rock on if you said that, because
this is what you got. That's the Lena. That's the Lena philosophy.
Kyle Edmund should
be Lena philosophy. Listen,
this is what the women don't understand.
No, but the women do. They just hate. People just give them shit when they say it with Serena. But
no, they don't say it.
Lena said it. Lena always said it. She's like, Serena ain't around. This is my shot. And she didn't mind knowing that she might not be able to beat Serena. She's like, who cares? She ain't here. I'm gonna beat whoever. So I think
Kyle Edmonds got to the semifinal, and Sasha Zverev has not even been to a quarterfinal. Just telling you.
That's fine, but I'm just saying Cilic this is actually a great opportunity for Cilic. Also because Stan is gone, so you are number 3. He's playing solid. I loved it when I read that he said he wanted to be number 1. I was like, you have those goals, boo. Put those big put those big goals out there. No, because that's never something that seemed like Cilic believed of himself. And the way he was talking about how he lost that match. first of all, blaming it on the roof. And then second of all, thinking that he had a shot in the 5th set, even though he got broken twice. But I mean, I think it's important for him to tell himself that story about how that match went, because he can convince himself that it was on his racket. I was like, okay, you convince yourself it was on your racket.
But that's important. That tells us a lot about his mindset. And I ain't mad at that at all. I'm
not mad at it either. Like, I mean, there were moments in the match Cilic played against the Spaniard where I was like, whoa, I'm scared for this Cilic. That Cilic never quite showed up tonight because I think, again, Federer does different things with the ball. So I think he never allowed Cilic to get in the full groove on his groundies. That just never really happened, you know? All the low balls that Federer always gives to the tall guys, that was really helpful. I mean, I think it's those little subtle things that people are going, well, why is this such a gimme? But I'm like,
I think two things that stood out for me in the match for Cilic is that I was really afraid for Cilic. I'm always afraid it's Federer. It's my fave. And, you know, because I'm petty, I want my fave to win so I could see haters hate on my fave. That's what petty people do. You know, and I really didn't know how I was going to deal if Federer lost to Cilic. Because I know people didn't like Cilic because he beat Federer.
Yeah.
I'm petty. I'm just throwing it out there. But anyway, Cilic didn't fully believe that he could beat Federer in this atmosphere. And I think that was probably, it's confident. I think he had the game to trouble Federer, and clearly old Federer is giving you dips and like giving you timeout to be like, get your chance in. That opportunity to do that. So, you know, if he were a bit more sharp-minded person, and you know, like he was more in it, he didn't trust his shots.
Yeah, he could have been more opportunistic.
He was all over the place. Yeah, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
And despite it's only one set down, one set in the hole, you always feel you had to claw your way back up, right?
Yeah.
Then he won the second set, and then he was all excited. But in the third set, he lost his way again. Federer clearly dominated that third set. And
then in the fourth set, Federer lost any kind of serving rhythm.
Exactly. So, but he was down already. He was down again in the whole 3-1.
Yeah.
Federer was up, and then he got to the tiebreak. It was a tiebreak, I think, in that one.
No,
he won 5 straight games. He won 5 straight games.
Yeah, he won 6-3.
So he felt that confident, and he thought, oh, yes, I'm getting that dip. But then in that opening game in the 5th set, Federer wouldn't go away. Yeah. He just wouldn't go away. Like, you were breaking him like easy cake in the 4th set. But here is this motherfucker in your face again. So, you know, I think if Cilic was not necessarily, and again, if you can't do anything different, if you can't mix it up and your game is 2-dimensional, you can't throw any surprise. You can't throw a surprise curveball at the other opponent because you give the same look all the time. So this is why I'm always surprised a lot of these guys don't have a much more varied game. Cilic couldn't try silver and volley just out of the blues. That would be a wreck.
Yeah. I mean, actually, which is interesting, though, because he came forward. Remember you were saying how he was coming forward a little bit on some of
he was coming forward. He's definitely gotten better at
earlier matches. Yeah, but he didn't really do much of that in this match. I don't think he trusted himself. Well, I don't think he trusted himself to do this against Federer.
Because I mean, Goran was his coach.
Was, but not anymore.
Was his coach. I mean, like, I mean, and when he won the US Open, I saw Cilic a lot. Like, I wasn't stalking him, but he was, you know, by himself. No, actually, it's true. His coach, that ballhead guy, he's cute as fuck. That's one deal. But anyway, Shawnee would back me up on that. But anyway, Cilic, they were playing games and whatever, and him and Nemeth Zimonjic. So he definitely have the people around him to teach him how to volley. But when it comes to being on the court, he doesn't trust himself. He doesn't trust himself. He wasn't backing himself.
Well, if Cilic gets comfortable at the net and he uses that big frame to defend that net, watch out ATP.
Well, don't sleep on him for Wimbledon. That's what I say. I mean, he might get himself there. So it was good. Fantastic final. We didn't need 5 sets, Federer, but I'm sure you thought that you needed to give him 3 hours.
I do feel bad about it.
3 hours was helpful. The match, I mean, everyone feels like it's a match when it goes 5 sets. Just like on the WTA side, when it goes 3 sets, everybody feels like it was a match. So for people who needed it to feel like a match, I guess you got a match. Federer sealed up with 20. That was really incredible.
Fucking 20 motherfuckers.
Yeah, I know.
That's 20.
20.
I don't really
Everybody say it out loud.
20.
20.
For years in my mind, I had
only
Federer
one
at
French
18. For years in my mind, I had him at 18. Even before he got there, I was like, I had him at 18 in my mind. I was like, 18, of course. I see 18. I said that to True online all the time. I was like, I've seen him get to 18 in my mind.
Oh my God, I was thinking.
There, I was like, yeah, he's there. But 20, let me tell you, I never thought. And when you think about think about this. Think about how many slams Federer would have if he had not had his nemesis. Like how many French Opens? I mean, it would have been a wreck. It would have been 30. So 20 is
I'm gonna
amazing.
say Federer 2004 French Open should have been yours, but you got confused. You got confused. You lost your way. Back in the day, you were under pressure. It's true. You were under a lot of pressure.
But
20 because he was number 1 seed by then. He was under a lot of pressure. 20
is amazing. And it feels, let me just say, it feels good as a Federer fan, not so much about the number, but to have him persevere through those years of not winning slams. Because people like to talk about Federer, but as if he's been at the top forever. He's been a top player. But Federer did not win from 2012 all the way for 6 years. This man,
5 years.
Yes, for 6 years, this man was playing tennis. Everyone hates him, all this kind of jazz about him, telling him he should retire, all of that shit. And think about it.
But he was showing up and putting seats in the stadium.
But people talk about Federer like he's been winning consistently. And he has slams. But he for 6 years he did. No, Rafa has won the French every single year except for 1 or 2. There's only a few years when Rafa didn't win anything, and he was a bummer. So we have, just in perspective, for people who really hate Federer, saying like, he only sticks around because he wins. There's only 1 year
Rafa didn't win a slam.
There was exactly. And so this is a person who was on tour for 6 years, not winning slams, even though people call him the slam boy, and that's all he ever counts on, and that's all he cares about. But he was on tour for 6 years, not winning any. So I just think that that's important framing. I mean, I know people hate Federer and everything, but like the narrative around the fact that he only cares about slams. If he only cared about slams at that point in time when he was losing these close finals, brutal finals, which, by the way, that's the one thing you can say about Federer's career, is that for all the people who talk about his head-to-head with all of his rivals, the most amazing thing about it is that he has had so many painful losses. Like that's the thing.
He shows up and he takes that licking and keep on clicking and he never retires.
Which is what Venus always said she appreciates about him. I mean, that's really important to know, because he's not a person who just experiences the good life about tennis. Like that's the thing I think is really annoying, is everybody's always like, he's the golden boy. Everything comes up roses for him. I'm like, but he's been on tour for 6 years not winning slams when that's all he's cared about.
Federer puts in the work. You cannot drag these young children unless you have put in the training. You cannot. I think people need to. People talk about the roof being closed. The roof being closed gives Marion an advantage. You know why? Because Federer fucking trains in Dubai. He wanted the 39 degrees heat. You roofers. But I hate that bullshit.
But I mean, but it's also the fact that in some ways it was too hot for both of them. And what I think is interesting is how people always assume that a closed roof is necessarily the best thing just for one opponent.
Right?
Like that's always the thing. I was like,
I don't understand why this is a
close the roof.
I mean,
hold up. This ain't for the players. Because corporate America don't give any shit. The corporate world, the capitalist world, don't give a shit about the players, right? You just show up and we get the money. What they're concerned about is some muffa in the stands who is not hydrated, falling down and holding up play.
Also, I think, honest to goodness, I think they're concerned about the fact that it's a final, and they're more moneyed people probably in the stands, and they wanted to make those people comfortable. I don't think the players were the first people they were thinking about, to be honest. But I mean, like,
I know. And contrary to what you may have been reading, it has been stated that both players knew around the same time. They were told. They weren't consulted. They were told that this was going to happen.
But the thing that's interesting is that Cilic is telling, which is good. I mean, telling a story that it's the roof that prevented him from being the victor in that match, which again speaks to Cilic's ego, which I think is becoming very healthy, which you need. You need to, if you want to tell yourself that that's why you didn't win.
Girl, you got breadstick in the 5th set.
Listen,
no,
but you know what? Listen, but if that's what, but if the story that's what you want,
your mind closed down.
It was the roof
happy?
And the racket.
Your mind closed up.
Well, I think it was also really, it was so damp in there. I think he couldn't get the tension.
Oh, he was complaining about the racket.
Yeah,
listen, what is this? What is this? This thing that they have in the weather in Australia? It's almost like the wind chill that we talked about.
Yeah,
the heat index.
The gradient.
No, they were talking something.
There was some gradient they were talking about that's at a certain percentage.
So it could so remember the atmospheric temperature could be 39 degrees, but because you're in a building and the building like New York City, it becomes really disgusted.
Yeah,
because there's no wind blowing through a building. Yeah. And in the subway, whoo.
Okay, so let's so woohoo to Federer. Janina, I think I interrupted you. You wanted to say something. Sorry, I remember.
Well, I wanted to say that I thought of your person. I'm not going to call her a friend, who I can't fucking stand, Peggy.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay.
All right. You know, when years ago she told you Federer will never win another slam, and I just want to say, bitch, we're still here. I don't like you then. I don't like your ass now. I still cringe when you show up in one of my social media feeds. And we're still here. That's all. That's all.
Oh God.
Like I said, I'm petty. I'm so petty. I like when my fave win and haters begin to hate.
You're a mess.
Because I know they're ready to hate. So now we say congratulations to Caroline and Federer. You showed up at the kids' day together and you won a major slam together. Venus, we could have won this. It could have been number 8. Just saying.
I would have liked to see you and Federer in in a circle together, but you refused to do that for us. Maybe you'll do it for us at Wimbledon.
And Benchich, because you took out Venus and you didn't do shit afterwards, girl.
You get the golden gong.
Bong. The golden spoon?
Bong. No, the spoon means something else. This is our gong.
You got the major miss of this major on the women's side, and we got Stanley to blame on the men's side because Stanley, girl, we don't let astronauts whoop our ass.
Yes.
You know what? Because
it's your fault to let Tennys.
We don't because you know what? Tennys should not walk all the way from that match feeling like he could feel his oats.
Yeah.
He felt himself. It's like, oh my God, I'll be a 3-time major. What?
So let's deal with the tea, y'all. Let's deal with the tea. Let's deal with the issues that came up over the tournament. What are your takes? What are your hot takes, y'all?
One, we need to stop talking about the fucking roof. People, stop it. Y'all look stupid. You look foolish. Roofers, stop this fucking shit. Stop it. Y'all will be embarrassed every single time because y'all know Craig Thiele will not be having any of that shit. And Tennis Australia will put out a fucking statement and make y'all look foolish. So stop it. Talk about something else, okay? Anything else. Schedule it. Oh, God. People, please.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You know, Realz and I had a conversation about scheduling one morning, and I was real fired up because I'm sick of it. You know, Marin is going to have all this rest, and Federer plays this, and he has to turn around and play again. Well, you know what? Marin said that fucked him up. But at the end of the day, these are professional athletes. This is what they train for, especially tennis players. And even Roger mentioned it today. It's harder to play at night when you have to wait around. Tennis is unpredictable all the time because if you're not first up, you're always waiting for somebody else. You may get on court, you may not. Shit might get too long and they have to cancel it and go into the next day. I am so tired of hearing about how scheduling affects people. It affects you as a fan. I think you bitch and whine about it far more than any player ever does. Ever. Because they're trained.
They're trained
this
to
is
have
what they train to do.
Since a junior. Yeah. This is like
what they do. Shut up.
And as always, the conditions are the same for both players. It ain't hot on one side and cold on the other side. And you know what? Tennis has a situation for that. Tennis makes you switch sides. It makes you switch sides. You don't get a home side, okay?
Hold up, wait a minute, back up. Master Ace says Roger Federer scheduling, everything's at night. Let us remember that the Australian Open a couple years ago flat out said that we are going to start putting people on court as to what sells. They are the only slam that openly admits to this. We know it happens everywhere, but they said, we're going to try to charge more money for tickets in certain places when certain people are playing. So yeah, are they going to put Federer on a night match and fill that shit up? Yes. Every fucking time. Every time. And we've seen it time and time again also that when you put a Federer on a smaller court, it is logistically disastrous. It doesn't work. It causes far more problems than scheduling. So I don't know if Federer asked for night matches. I don't fucking care.
I think he asked for matches, asked for courts. And I think it's, I mean, I get the interesting thing is that it's this year because Federer didn't play all night matches last year. Do you know what I mean? Like it was actually a mixture of both. And it also depends on what's happening with the draw. And it also depends on where the people are falling on the draw. And it also depends on how people are doing. Because usually what used to happen, and nobody made a big stink about this, but what used to happen is that they would just go back and forth between Federer, Rafa, and Nole at night. That's what they used to do. They would just volley those three because those were the top three sellers.
But now they have home team favorites like Kyrgios.
Yeah. And then and all those other things come into play. And then also depending on how the draw then breaks down, right? Because before the way this used to play out is that they used to be on opposite side of the draw. So you could flip it back and forth. But now you have somebody on the same side of the draw. And then the politics of who gets night and who gets day becomes even clearer, right? That becomes the big issue for them.
I have two things to say. One, I think Jasmine said it right. Scheduling is now in all these tournaments make money. Night matches and TV contract make tennis money. Okay, we need to put that out there. It's a capitalist world. These decisions are not made by an individual basis. They're made by money. We forget there are only two majors that have a night session, which means that they sell two different tickets. Okay, US Open and Australian Open. They are not going to put Ashley Barty and Andrea Petkovic in the final, in the night session. They're not going to put those two people in there. Maybe if Ashley Barty is paying Petkovic, maybe that might happen. But they're going to put people who can bring in the money, who can fill that whole stadium to just watch two matches. You have to bring people to watch two matches as opposed to all during the day when they could watch 3 or 4 matches. So that's what it is in the day session. And I am not going to be lectured by people who are watching TV about scheduling. I'm not going to, because it don't affect your life. Whether it's daytime or nighttime, you get to watch all the fucking matches you want when you're home sitting on your ass watching it on television. If people who are at the tournament screaming, I am fucking tired of seeing Federer at night when I pay for a night ticket, then we can have a discussion about that. Maybe y'all are being a little unfair. People are paying the top money and they want to steal the players. But if every time I see fucking Federer at night, I see the stands are filled to capacity and tickets are sold out and ticket costs more, I can't say shit. Because they're giving the people what they want and it's selling. And they ain't hurting nobody but you and your tiny little it's about. Because when your fave is at night, you ain't talking about favoritism. And people, and it's not about conditions and favoritism because I'm playing the same fucking court at the same fucking time. Let's just put that in your mind. They can.
I mean, I would like Federer to play matches in the day every time because that's conducive to my schedule, but I know better. It ain't happening.
Exactly. Come on now, people. Let's not get stupid. This shouldn't be a thing. It should not be a thing.
But I think it's only a thing because it's interesting to me how it's a thing for gatekeepers. Because again, gatekeepers control the narratives that get the fans all wazzied up. And there are reporters / bloggers have made scheduling a really big issue. And I've said it from day one all the way back, even when it's my fave, I don't care about scheduling because I go to live tennis. And so I understand the value of having a player who's traditionally on one court move to another court. Like I've gone to the US Open and it sucks that you can't see Federer on Armstrong. It really does because the seats are just better there. One year we had Federer on Armstrong. Another year we had Nole on Armstrong. It was a logistical nightmare. You cannot, the crowd control issue was a huge problem. It just was. It was impossible for people to move around because people stood in line for 1.5 hours just to see Novak Djokovic, because the number of people that can fit into Armstrong is just different than what can fit into Ashe. It just is. So there's also that
you
side of it.
You can't go to the bathroom freely as
you can't. Yeah, you don't, because you leave, because they're free seats in Armstrong. So the moment you leave, you're gone, and then people just come right back in. It's just a logistical issue as well. If the courts were exactly the same seat numbers, then maybe you can make that case. They're equally valuable. But I think it's been like the last maybe 5 to 6 years, we've had people encouraged to think about court assignments as some reflection of something other than money. Like, it's like, this person's disrespecting you. It's unfair. They're not showing you the proper whatever they need to show you. Honestly, goodness, as soon as it becomes impossible for people as soon as people don't care about seeing Federer, I guarantee you they will shunt him to the very back. Because remember, Wimbledon did the exact same thing to Sampras. Their 7-time champion. They shunted him off into the graveyard court, right? Because they didn't think he was selling tickets. They didn't care about that. So it's this business. Like, that part of it is a business. And you could push back on that. And I understand that. Like, if you want to push back on tennis as a business, which we all have problems with business aspects, we're not all capitalists. If you want to push back on that, that's fine. But when you push back on it with language like being fair and being respectful and being all those kinds of things, I just don't understand that. Like, these people are calculating how to make money. And one of the things everyone always says about Australia is how much money, they're the ones that's always leading in terms of money and how much money gets to the players. And it's like, how do you think these people are making money? What are the sponsorship deals you think these people are establishing so that your player can get your money? Like, what do you think that is? Do you think that's not about selling out the stadium? Do you think that's not about TV rights? That's how all of that shit works. So when you get the money that's going to a player, it's because those financial decisions are being made. So for me, I find it really disingenuous when reporters, because they're dumbing down their coverage, talk about scheduling, but don't talk about the financials behind scheduling. Lay that case out so that people are armed with the right information. It's not about disrespect. It's not about not liking Novak. It's not about not honoring this person. I will always remember when freaking Sampras was on that fucking graveyard court and then losing. I was like, man, he's been their champion, whatever. And it's just like, it drives me nuts. Like bring more to the table than the slight of your fans. Like, obviously Federer is my fave, but I have other faves and they don't end up on every court that I want them to, but I understand the logistics of it. Like, we complain about it at the US Open all the time. They put like these crazy matches that are blowouts and it's uncompetitive. And you think to yourself, why would you put that on Ashe? But we know that Ashe is selling tickets to people who are occasional tennis fans. Yep. They don't know that Ashley Barty is the greatest thing since sliced bread. They don't know who she is. So, and that again is another problem maybe, and we can deal with what that is and we can deal with how you expose people to who tennis players are. But the reality is people show up at these tournaments to see the star names. Now you can talk about how do you market and how do you get people to understand who are stars of the game. And that's a separate issue. But at the end of the day, the people who are paying thousands of dollars are not your rabid tennis fans. They're not the ones who know this player is really the best. They know 5 names and that's it. I don't think any other sport spends as much time hand-wringing about who the stars of their sports are and why those people get put up front.
True.
Like, do people do that? Like, do people sit
No, they do not.
Or Steph Curry? Like people seem to understand and honor all of those elements about the business. Like, this person makes money, they're the star, they get whatever they do. Tennis is the only one that sits around and go, why can't my favorite player get this court placement? I was like, what the fuck? Who's paying for your favorite player?
This is what I'm
nobody knows them.
This is my issue. Who is complaining is watching it on fucking TV. It don't matter where he is placed. You will still see the fucking match. I can't listen to you.
You don't care about the fan on the ground either. You don't really care about the fan
court size, the size of the painted lines are the same fucking size on court 18 as they are and Arthur Ashe or Bradley Arena. Come on, people. There are real legit issues. This is what gets me mad. What gets me mad is that they're gonna fight tooth and nail for this fuckery, for this bullshit. And when real issues come up, crickets. No, all of a sudden, no one got a nuanced opinion. All of us, people can't wax poetry. They can't even write a fucking tweet.
But they can write a whole chart talking about when
they can write a whole diagram.
Do the whole thing.
About
you can't tell me anything about revenue generation. You can't tell me about how that money gets down to the players. You can't tell me any of these decisions.
They're talking about, you know what they're showing stats on? Fucking matches. They're showing stats on match wins.
I was like, I don't give a fuck.
They can't put money in it. And this is, see, I'm not here for any of this shit. That pisses me off.
Stop being triggered by reporters who get fans triggered. Reporters get fans. Your favorite was not put on this star court. Is your favorite playing and then finishing up and heading home? I remember people used to bitch about that for Venus. And I was like, guess what? Venus was put on court number 2. She finished her match. The rain came and Venus was resting in the locker room. It's like sometimes you have to also think about the different things that are happening. It's like, do you think, oh my God, you should wait? It's like, you should wait. She's waiting later. But if she gets on her court assignment, she's done and over and she can get on with her life. Like,
they act like if you got in center court and you start with a set, you got free set in hand when you play center court. I'd rather leave every. No, bitch, you start from zero. You start from zero. You win every point.
I got to see this on an outside court one time and I got to sit in the front row fucking courtside. That ain't happening anywhere else. It was amazing. But, you know, people at home, I'm sure, were bitching because, oh my God, Venus is on court 3. You know,
you're like slapping your butt going, oh my God, this person is
what? Let me get my ass over there, plant it down, and don't fucking move. Because again, what people don't understand is those are the free seats, those are the cheap seats, those are the extra seats. So if you move and you lose it, there ain't no this is my seat. You lost it. You just lost it. Oh, I planted my ass there for hours and I did not move so that I could watch Venus Williams courtside. And she was 10 feet away from me and it was fucking amazing.
That's like seeing Venus and Serena play doubles on Armstrong because Venus and Serena are always scheduled on Ash. And, you know, like if you're not willing to spend $500, they're looking like nosebleeds. I mean, these are just... You know, it's different. Like I get the whole respect language that people use around that stuff, but I feel like we've got to like expand our thinking about that. People complain about all sorts of things in tennis, but
Andrew, we've got to stop asking people to think.
It's just weird. It's just weird.
In this critical time, in this critical arena, when we're being so,
it's like our big issue. All right.
No, I'm not here for that.
Yeah, I mean,
anyways,
but you know what? And then the other thing, aside from scheduling, but I just want to talk about this in terms of weather. I think we all have to recognize that sports, they have to deal with the extremes of weather. That is something that is here to stay in terms of like things becoming extremely hot and global warming, y'all. Global warming is going to have an impact on our sport. Like it has to, because it's
on our life. On our lives.
Yeah, and on our lives, right? People
and
don't think about also,
like sports, it's gonna affect that bigly.
But it is. It's gonna affect that bigly. But honestly, you know what? And honestly, instead of actually devolving into this like conversation about preferences about your faves, why can't we talk about the bigger issue about, listen, we have a sport that is supposed to be an outdoor sport. And, you know, from the monsoons that happen in New York, from all the things that happen, I think they need like just a weather, like climate policy change. And that needs to impact how they build the stadium, whether everything is going to get a court. Also think about the people in the stadium as well. Like how should they be covered up? I mean, I think those are the kinds of things that you can push on. But when you just let it be about the fact that your favorite is not getting a comfortable seating or what have you, whatever. It's a dumb issue. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than what happened to your favorite. Because what suddenly would people have complained if Novak had played all night match? Would that have like solved the problem for you? No, it doesn't solve any of the real problem, which is like weather is going to detrimentally impact our sport. And we have to talk about how stadiums need to take that into consideration. Inclement weather policy, which by the way, I read that the tournament changed that without even consulting the players about when is too hot or not hot enough. So, I mean, I think that those are the kinds of things.
And let us not forget that the organization had to be forced. They were forced into the heat rule.
Yeah, and they were forced to probably.
And then the men just sort of the men had to just accept it. Yeah, because remember, Australian Open used to be played on rubber.
Yeah, they're forced to
Remember,
change
Australian
things.
Open used to be in rubber.
Yeah.
So that heat, not only was it fucking hot in the air,
It was dangerous.
on that cold. It was dangerous. You couldn't even fall on that cold. Not supposed to fly on hard cold people.
So
yeah, y'all are crazy.
It's not even just that. Don't let reporters reduce this to something about your faves getting
for followers.
Because
they're doing it for followers.
Like it's supposed to be bigger than that. It's supposed to be big, just like how people reduced Margaret Court's fucking homophobia, racism, and sexism into should you play on Margaret Court and what is your favorite tennis player? Think about it. Who the fuck cares? I don't care. What if they all loved her? It still wouldn't matter. So I'm just like, let's just like have these people deal with the real meat of the issue and not these little superficial thing that get us as fans all crazy, but like moves away from the central issue, which is you got real climate issues here and you need to deal with it if you're going to continue to be an outdoor sport. And what are you going to do? How are the rules going to be consistently applied? Like, I think we have to ask those kinds of questions, but you know, maybe we should just care that Novak played.
That's making sense.
I don't know.
We just care that Nole said that he didn't ask for it, and then it quietly as it was kept. We found out that Nole peeps did ask for it. They said we did
because they wanted to punish.
So we don't talk about that.
Monfils because they thought Monfils in the day is less dangerous than Monfils at night. But let's pretend that it had something to do with court assignments. Okay, well, we're gonna pretend that that's what it was. All right.
And quiet as it's kept, we later found out that inside, when it is the roof is cold, it's still hot.
Muggy
it's still hot.
It's a different animal. That's what it is. You're sweating.
Yeah, it's still hot.
You're getting dehydrated.
Federer said he saw what's her name, Belinda, complaining about the heat, and he was like, "What you talking about?" And you guys was like, "Oh shit, it's hot in here!" Like, cute. So people,
anyways, what else?
You can't be at home complaining about shit that requires your presence. Okay. You need to be present, then we're gonna hear you. Otherwise,
all right. What next?
Shut up.
What's happened?
Moving on. So,
fashion mishaps.
No tennis.
There was no good fashion.
Tennis. We're talking about tennis. Sangren.
Yes.
Oh, we got to talk about him.
Yes.
I mean, I think we do because we're like probably going to be the only people who are going to actually talk about it in a way that I think is useful. I'm just kidding. No, not really. I don't even know if it's useful at all, to be honest.
It's not useful.
Yeah. We are going to touch a DJ Summer 21, and we don't like to call it alt-right. We like to call it racism.
Yeah. Let's call it
what it is.
Neo-Nazi. Yeah, neo-Nazism. Let's not try to pretend it. No, look, you see, one thing is just, I guess we're all free to express, but let's just be clear. Freedom of speech. But we know freedom comes responsibility. And freedom of speech means you're free from prosecution in many instances, but you're not free from persecution. So you don't get to run your mouth and say whatever the hell you want to say, and next people supposed to be like, yeah, it's freedom of expression. Journalists, you can't take that cop out because that's your job. Your job is to analyze speech. It's what people say and do. That is your job. That is your only job, is to analyze actions and words in the public sphere and in the private sphere that affects people in fact just one individual and has an impact, and analyze that shit. Whether you're covering tennis, whether you're covering basketball, it's your job. So color me surprised when this motherfucker is running around, has been, and not just him, because people keep forgetting Tennys Sandgren is not an anomaly. He's not. Almost every single white American male tennis player got some dodgy shit to say. Some crazy shit. Even Noah Rubin, who I thought was half black, turned out like he isn't. And he running his mouth and saying some racist shit. He deleted that shit from Twitter quickly. It's all there. You can go back and look for it. And y'all are trying to give Tennys Sandgren a pass. He's 26 fucking years. He's free to vote. He's free to fuck. He's free to drink. He's free to join the army and do whatever the hell he wants to do. He can accept liability for everything. You can't call this boy a kid. You can't give him a pass.
He's a man.
When y'all ask for Nick out of the fucking sport because he spilled secret about Stan, he told the fucking truth. The Stan is a near pedophile, and y'all got mad. Y'all got mad at that. He's a disgrace. He should get out of here. But all of a sudden, we get to sit down and talk about racism exploring ideas. No, people, we don't get to pretend that neo-Nazi is a political idea we need to debate, because we saw it. We saw how that shit fucking works.
We saw how it ends. It ends It ends in Holocaust. That's the logical end to these ideas. This is a part of it that I really push back on. I push back on this notion that these are just like flat ideas, that they're just ideas to be sort of like conceived of and just played with and then put aside. These ideas have natural ends. They have a natural end, which is the death and destruction of groups of people. It's not that somebody's like, I like red or I like blue. Let's all make sure that we should. It's okay for you to hold those ideas. Those ideas are fine. They're palatable in some ways, but some ideas do not rise to that level. Some ideas call for the complete annihilation of groups of people. And so for me to sit around and listen to these people try to give Tennys the benefit of the doubt and to say, oh, he's just exploring these ideas. Guess what? People who explore those ideas murder people. There was a man who was liking some of the same things that Tennys was liking, being a part of some of these groups that Tennys was in, and like flirting with those ideas. And he went out and killed a gay Jewish student. ProPublica just did a whole piece on it. So, and the group that is killing and harming Americans the most are neo-Nazis. So these are just ideas that have no end.
And they have been, and let me say quietly, they have all been radicalized online.
Yes.
Dylan Roof was radicalized online. So I don't have time to sit down and talk about Tennys Sangren. He's expressing himself and to be okay and let him be, because you know what? His victory is my destruction.
Exactly.
He's fucking talking about me being annihilated. Whether I'm gay, whether I'm black, whether I'm just being a man who's not gonna stand up for his bullshit. Come on now, people. This is not how it works. This is not how these things work. And you cannot sit and have him on the open mic and talk about this is a topic for open mic and discussion of ideas. No, we have seen what slavery does. Slavery still exists today. We have seen the issues of racism, how it manifests. It kills people. It literally kills both the victim and the perpetrator. I mean, like we have people running around with tattoos on.
What was the appropriate approach that you thought was should have been? How do you think Tennys really should have been handled? Tennys Sangren.
They should have handled it exactly like Martina Navratilova handled it and called it like it is. Say this is ugly.
She didn't say that initially though. She was forced to.
They were quiet. And that's what I don't like. Because here's the thing. Serena had to come out and say something first. And I'm so sick and fucking tired of Serena. I'm kind of mad at you because you always have to respond to this shit. Don't. You pay your dues on the WTA. Tennys Sangren is something because American tennis is nothing without you. You shouldn't have to say anything. When Nick said what he had to say about Dana Vekic and Stanley, and he didn't even call Dana's name, both ATP and WTA put out a fucking statement. They put out a statement. The player council got together. And you mean to tell me y'all got notice of a motherfucker who won 2 matches before he showed up to the Australian Open? Y'all got nothing to say? That Serena had to put out some subliminal shady tweets in order to get some fucking respect? And y'all are all claiming and clapping? No. If a co-worker says some racist shit to me, after I already punch her in the fucking face, if Jesus doesn't hold me back, I'm going to the boss. I ain't got time. I ain't waiting for no statement apology from her. It is the people who are in charge of that establishment should ensure that my safety should be because of who I am. Okay?
Yeah, like what about the gay player? What about the gay player? What about the person of color on the tour? If you have a person liking tweets that's disparaging gay people, disparaging black people, disparaging all people of color, disparaging all of that, it's up to you to issue a statement that says that this is a zero tolerance for you as an organization. So even the fact that like that part to me, I'm amazed that you reminded me of this, Realz, that they did issue a statement about a fucking rumor coming out about Dana Vekic. They actually did issue a statement, but I've yet
to had an emergency meeting. They had an emergency meeting.
I'm just remembering that. So there was no official statement given. Like, basically, you have to disavow neo-Nazi views. You have to disavow all of these ideas publicly, loudly, out loud, saying this is an unsafe environment for anyone who holds those views and propagates them in public. You have to say that. I mean,
even Donald Trump tries to do that.
He doesn't.
We know he's not genuine, but he fucking at least knows that that's what he's supposed to say. And Tennys just says
nothing.
No, and here's my thing. And here's the thing that we keep forgetting. Here's what I'm upset with Martina Navratilova. Y'all trying to remain friends. No, friend. Because you know what? He's going to kill your other friends you claim you have. Right? And not only that, the thing that happened is who defended Tennys Sangren. Because you say that Tennys is saying some crazy shit, right? But yet, you're not condemning Johnny. It's not all those people who run up and is supporting him and claiming and defending him on social media. Steve Johnson, John Isner, all of them. And this is the problem. Tennys Sangren is not the problem. Nicole Gibbs.
Which, by the way, let me just give a little Nicole Gibbs shout out. I think it's great that you think it's your job to argue and debate these ideas, because of course that's a luxury you have as a white woman. It's your job. I'm assuming you've decided that it's your job as a white woman to check these white men with their ideas. And that's great for you to think that's your role. But to put that on other people, I'm not going to debate somebody who calls my own existence into question. That's not exactly. That's not a thing that we're going to be doing. Maybe that's a thing you do, because that's like what maybe white women holding white men accountable. But the expectation that people of color should be open to debate. Can you imagine? Can you imagine seriously having a person go on a rant about how women don't deserve to live, or women are cockroaches, or all manner of things, and then inviting a woman to go, could you debate this with this person? What the fuck?
Exactly.
I don't really understand.
Exactly. What do I say to that?
What am I supposed to say?
No, exactly. That their argument, and that's the thing. Their argument is not built within science, logic, rational, or reason.
Nope.
How the fuck am I supposed to go sit down and try to say, oh yes, I have a right to be here because I'm here, and we try to trot out examples of exceptional people. Look, Serena can't save us all. So I'm not trying. So Serena got money. But she can build a wall on her. Exactly.
Did you see what they did though? I actually heard John McEnroe. They were talking about this. There was Chris Fowler and I think it was John McEnroe. Patrick. It was Chris Fowler and Patrick. They were the most insulting thing to them wasn't really all the things that he said about racism. That wasn't it. It was the fact that he found Serena disgusting, and the fact that that was an attack on someone in the tennis family. And I'm like, first of all, how about let's talk about the human family first. Let's deal with the human family first. But he really wanted to double down on this idea that, oh no, you know what? It's fine for him to have his own beliefs, which, by the way, about who's human and who's not human. Okay, that's really what those beliefs are. And then the second thing was, but really the part that really gets to me is that he attacked our champion. And when you go after one of us in the tennis family, I was like,
no, bitch, bullshit. no fucking John McEnroe, bitch. They don't say shit. You know why?
That was a Chris Fowler. I was like, bullshit.
Max Eisenberg says shit about Serena every
all
fucking
the time,
and he's all the fucking time. And he's not only representing. He represents Maria, and you have him showing around.
Your recent French Open champion. This is a man who insulted
pointed it out to all of y'all
women players on your fucking tour.
I ain't got time for Jenkins with his get out. Jenkins needs to get the fuck out. Okay, I ain't got time for Jenkins' bullshit.
Listen. A very, very wise woman who I am going to take the liberty and assume that everybody here knows who she is. Maya Angelou told us all once, when people show you who they are, believe them. Right there.
Sangren told us who we are. So the fake apology that you all, that everybody read, I saw people reading the apology and was like, we should really take him at his word. Do you know what that apology represents? And let me just be honest. I'm gonna talk for all people of color. No person of color believes the apology. No one does. Those ideas don't go away after 2 weeks of scrutiny. That's it. This is a person who held these ideas, held these beliefs was checking these ideas online, was being like asked and supported by neo-Nazi folks to be like, you're one of us. And suddenly this person's going to issue some rambling apology. And I'm going to be like, we really need to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's okay for you.
He got called out.
That's
First of all, the boy called him out. One of his friends called him out. Congratulations to my friend. When you try to say, oh, liking tweets,
I don't know you.
Nothing. And then your mother come with some bullshit. Look, I don't usually go after people's mother, but when you're breathing racist,
yeah,
I ain't got time for your fucking shit, okay?
Well,
she come with some bullshit. She's fucking curious. Look, you can't be curious about racism when you're not curious about Black Panther, when you're not curious about all lives, Black Lives Matter, when you're not retweeting those people.
Yeah, really. I thought you were having a dialogue, right? He's having a dialogue, but he really only have a dialogue with neo-Nazis. He's a curious.
Exactly. What you're doing is you're trying to make
range of ideas.
Okay. Exactly. What you're doing here and what is happening here slowly, we're trying to make racism a friendly,
friendly,
palpable, friendly face. Like Mr. Rogers come over and he's fucking racist, right? And you expect us to sit there and watch ourselves be tread upon, walked all over, treated like shit?
And then give you money for it? No,
and defend our humanity. Look, no one is taking away the fact that Stanley Sangren got to the quarterfinal.
Who cares?
That shit is that Stanley fucked up. Stanley should have retired and should have let that shit go. And that motherfucker would have got stumbled over. And guess who took him out? A person of fucking color. Spanked him. Put him in his place. Showed him. Even a fucking dodgy foot. Because you know what? People of color always gotta be exceptional and 20 times better than the fucking average white man, because that's just how the system is built. And we're sick and tired of that bullshit. But no, come on now, people. We can do better than this. Tennis should call this shit out. And not just call out Tennys Sangren because he is the only person they can quickly talk about, but it needs to call out the whole fucking system, because Tennys Sangren is only a small example of many situations. And John McEnroe, your response, I got a problem with your response. Because you know what? Y'all always like to fucking talk about the struggle and the people who are struggling and how exceptional they are, and I talk about the struggle. You're going to sit here and tell me how Althea Gibson struggled when y'all didn't invite that woman back to play tennis when tennis became open to professionals, and she had to leave the fucking sport because she had no money. You didn't want to talk about that. And y'all stadium called Louis Armstrong Stadium and not Althea Gibson Stadium. Get the fuck out of here. Y'all gonna talk about Venus and Serena, and every fucking day they get in a struggle. Every fucking day people are calling them out for bullshit. People in your own fucking organization call them out every fucking day and say mean and hateful things. But y'all got nothing to say with them. Oh, the struggle. Oh, the struggle. Blake got dragged and pumped over and talk about, oh, you can't say cops are all cops are bad. The motherfucker was waiting to come to a job at the tennis tournament and he got fucking balled over. And y'all still making excuses. No, we ain't got time
people
for that.
People need to
don't call out the bad actors if you're not calling out the bad play.
But
that's
also you also have to call out your own leadership. You have leadership possibilities. Everybody acts as if they're victims in this moment. Everyone was a victim. The people who are covering it feel victimized by being forced by fans to talk about it. But I'm like, you guys are all in leadership position. Like, everyone is a leader in some ways. Like, if you're covering a tennis, if you've been flown in and you are there representing an organization of some sort, you are a leader. So when you have to take that stand, like, you have that power. John McEnroe can't talk about things happening to him as if it's happening around him. He's part of that. He has academies. Like, all of these people are in leadership positions. Like, that's what I don't really understand. It's like, you're not just an actor in it. You're not just like somebody whose things are happening upon you. You actually have the ability to craft narratives and change the way people think about this. So it's weird to me that everyone's like hands off, like, oh my God, this is happening around us and we're all at the mercy of this thing that's happening. You know, like, one of the things we know about tennis is that it's rabidly insidious and like everyone knows each other. So if something's going down, like, you know, the person who's going to create the program and you're going to be interviewing the boss and you know what I mean? Like, all of that is like, you're going to dinner with like the person who owns Tennis Channel. So it's like all of those things play out in some ways. So I just like that part of it where everybody casts themselves as a victim, similar to the way tennis casts himself as a victim. Like, who's your leader? Like, I mean, who's really the leader here? Like, I mean,
people, and really, are we gonna have John McEnroe show up and give us a lecture, the motherfucker who's been benefit from fucking privilege from the jump.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. So
come on.
Yeah. So
no, exactly, it can't be here.
I'm just sitting here reading in our live feed, and I'm just going to say, you know, anyone who's not offended by what this man said, you might want to check your own. What you think of yourself.
How could you not? This is the thing.
Apparently, we have a gay black man who's not offended.
That's fine.
And I can't wrap my mind around that.
I don't care.
Don't be offended.
I don't really care about what an individual feels. Like, that's okay. Individuals.
I'm just saying you might want to check yourself. You might want to think about where you come from.
Yeah. Individuals will feel what they feel. You know, you can feel what you feel.
Because one day you're going to be the other. Maybe you haven't experienced it yet. I lived that life for a long time. It's coming.
But I mean, you know, at the end of the day, individuals get to feel what they feel. You know, people have privileges that they don't recognize, that comes and goes, depends on what space you're in, all of that jazz. But at the end of the day, this person, neo-Nazi ideas are not ideas that need to be floated in the marketplace, because we know what their natural end are. That's the position I hold. And
a little education goes a long way.
I mean, we just have to figure it out.
Yeah, and that's my thing. His mother was like, he's curious. Pick up a fucking book. Go look at Ken Burns.
What a society looks like. What does a society look like when neo-Nazi ideas or Nazi ideas get full reign? We end up with the Holocaust. So it's not like it's confusing what those ideas mean. It's not. Right. We know what it looks like when a society decides that some people are not human. We end up exploiting them. That's what that natural. And the idea that we're gonna like debate humanity, who's more human than another. I mean, those are not up for debate. I think people have just gotten completely confused about what is debatable. You know, some things are not debatable.
Some things are not debatable.
It isn't. Right. I know people have confused you all with that. Maybe it's our poor education system, but not everything is up for debate. You don't decide that your child is worth money or not worth money. We kind of decided that humans are priceless. Those are the things that we've decided, theoretically. All right? That's just something that's out there. We didn't decide whether men are worth more than women. We kind of know that they're not. Whether it plays out differently in the real world or not, that's a separate thing. But we've kind of decided those things are not up for debate. And so when people mention Tennys and say, oh, well, he's just exploring ideas. No, he's exploring inhumanity. That's what he's exploring. He's exploring how he can live with the idea that some people are less valuable than he is. That's what he's exploring. But we've already made those decisions up. We've already done it philosophically. We've made that distinction. We've already decided. So, I mean, you know, I think I think Fox News sold everybody a bill of goods that everything is up for debate, but it really isn't. Just think about the things that are not up for debate. I that's just what I would implore people, is that not everything needs to be debated. It really isn't. You know, you're not deciding to put babies in the microwave. We just don't do that.
Right.
Yeah, how about we put our baby in the street and explore that idea?
How about we do it's like I could tell you a lot of things to do, but it doesn't mean that it's debatable. It doesn't mean that there's a pro and a con. Not everything has a pro and a con to it. Some things are just what they are. That's just it. So, I mean, listen, Tennys, you get to do I'm not stopping him from doing his livelihood. I will never cheer for him. I know exactly who this person is. I will wait to see what his evolution is. As I said, 3 billboards fashion, his evolution is when I see substantial change in his life. I see him talking differently about people. I see him engaging the world differently. I see him being mindful of it. I see him going out and learning about people of color that he dismissed for years. And apology is not it. I'm going to judge him by his actions moving forward. That's it. But my mind has not been changed about who this person was, because he was telling us who he was for years. If you need to change your mind about him so you can cheer him,
exactly.
That's up to you.
Let us take a moment and point this out. None of this is new. This has been going on for a long, long time, for years, in fact. And what's her name? At Big Toss?
Bad Toss.
Yeah. Bad Toss has done a phenomenal job of actually documenting it, because she follows the Challenger Tour quite closely.
And she has been punished for doing the right thing. She's been
doxxed. And she's the one that's being doxxed right now, because she took the risk. She's the one that took the risk in calling this person out.
let us make it very, very clear that this isn't new. This is not new. This is someone that Twitter, I'm not sure how it blew up. I'm not sure if it was her article that she wrote or whatever. I'm honestly not sure. But for some reason, this blew up during the Australian Open, probably because he played well and he got far. So people started to go, who is he? And people started to look to who he is. And you know what? If he was just exploring ideas and just being curious, you don't go scrub your Twitter feed and delete all the shit that you know you should have never said.
You defend some ideas.
You defend it. And you say, this is why I believe what I believe. This is why I said what I said. You don't decide 5, 6, 7, 8 years later that you need to apologize. When you're wrong, you know you're wrong from the moment that you've done it. And if your apology, no, wait a minute. If your apology is sincere, it will come swiftly after the action. You don't take years to think about it. So don't come at me with, oh, he has apologized. No, someone wrote him a letter that sounds nice and he posted it on his Twitter feed.
Listen,
someone fed him the right thing to say.
He's doing, you know what he's doing this for, right? It's money. It's money. Their business.
His livelihood is in danger. His livelihood is in danger. So he just needs to scrub his image, and we're going to give him permission to do that. Listen, let me just say who's going to give him permission. I'm going to be aggressive about it. White people are going to give him permission to hold these ideas. Because we have seen that the majority are okay with you holding untenable ideas about people of color as long as it does not make it into the public sphere.
And it doesn't affect them directly.
Research shows that.
But research shows you that when you fuck with people of color, it inevitably affects you. Because people of color issues are generally the same issues you have.
They're human rights.
They have economic anxiety too. They have all those issues.
But we've killed this tennis horse.
And tennis, if you want to explore ideas, here are some ideas you can explore. Putting something up your butt. Shutting the fuck up. Those are things you can explore.
Oh, God. I don't know. Okay. So that took a turn. I think he was trying to explore that when he stumbled into the gay club and decided to be homophobic.
And needed
anyway.
His mother said he has gay friend. His gay friend laughed at it.
I have black friends. I'm not
the black friend that, it's like the black friend. Everybody has that. Just like serial killers have friends, people. My God. And we still have to go through these ideas. I'm
sure Hitler was a lovely host. He was a lovely host.
His kids, and he liked
Mark, you're in the wrong place, honey. You are in the wrong place if you ever think you can come here and not look at the big whole picture. It ain't all just about tennis here.
Good luck on that. If you think you can sit around and just play, I just want to see two players hit a ball back and forth, and I don't care what they think and how they believe.
I got some podcasts for you to listen to if that's what you want. Send me a message.
That's cool though. Yeah, that's true. That's true. We're not that podcast though.
We're not that.
What are any other outstanding issues that emerged at this Australian Open besides the racism and the court assignments?
Nothing.
Well, I think we don't need to belabor the point about women's versus the women were better and men. People WTA champions, y'all can't cherry pick stats. Y'all sound like no fam. Stop it. You can't cherry pick matches.
No one should
speak for the whole tour. Okay, and people conversely, same thing should be done on the ATP. Okay. We know we don't get a quote unquote.
Can we stop with that?
You don't get a perfect tournament.
Yes. Let us give Tony his props. Let us give him his shining moment. Serena is coming back. That's what he wants to talk about.
Well, she's not back yet, and so
okay. Sorry, Tony, you have to wait.
Yeah. You're gonna get to lather up. Are you going to be going to Fed Cup to see her? Because if you're not a real Serena fan, if you're not going to Asheville, are you? Are you going to Asheville, Tony?
Tony ain't going. He can't handle it.
Why not?
He can't handle the return.
She might that she'll be returning at Indian Wells as well.
Oh yeah, right? Fed Cup is sold out.
Yeah,
it's done. There's no tickets available, and tickets have been sold at crazy prices.
You know who says they do have tickets? Chad. So if he genuinely does have tickets, we can have him on and give us the lowdown about how Fed.
It's in North Carolina. Oh, I'm gonna take a pass at that one.
So
Bree, are you going? She lives down there, don't?
Oh yes. Yes,
are you going?
HY. Yeah, I think HY.
Alize
Yes, Alize missed 3 times to go take a piss.
Can we just go back to the actual? Can we go back to the rule book, because people are confused? You're not allowed to miss a test. Missing test is an admission of guilt.
It's a lot. Yeah.
So
that's why
the end of the debate.
Got banned.
That's
why. What's his name? He's from Serbia. What's his name? Wears glasses.
Yeah,
his face.
Yeah.
Yes, he got banned.
The whereabout rules is the only thing they have. Like, this is it. Like, if you don't show up for a test, the perception has to be that you don't want to take the test. And
no, you're not allowed.
3 times.
Yeah, 3 times. How you miss that? And you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, even if you are not
you're right.
doping,
Not the savage. Victor Troitsky. Victor Troitsky. Yeah.
No, Victor Troitsky had something with the No, he showed up.
He
for
said
his
he
test,
showed up for the test and said the man told him to come back again the next day.
No, but it was also
a missed test.
Yeah, it's a missed test. Like, a missed test is a huge deal. Like, it's. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like missing a final. Like, the teacher has to presume that you didn't know. Even if you knew, you're still going to get a 0. So that's what, in effect, that's what's happened for Alize 3 times. How's that happen?
Listen, do people not realize? Because they're like, oh, she had a reason. No, she didn't. They say, I am available between 6 and 10 a.m. and this is my location. There's no gray area here. The players actually say where they're going to be during what time. They choose this. Doping control does not choose it for them. They choose it, guys. They choose their own location. They choose their own time. So when you don't answer the door, you look like a fucking fool. And you know what? It's happened. Remember the Serena panic room moment? I mean, God, we're still talking about that years later.
I know.
Xavier Malise and Yanina Wickmeyer also got in trouble for that same situation. Brianna, you're right. Yanina was suspended for a little bit. I think at least 6 months.
Yep, Yanina Wickmeyer. She had the same issue. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a legitimate issue for people. Like, that's the only thing they have.
You cannot complain. You cannot complain, Tennessee, but because I show you know who have it infinitely more track and field athletes and swimmers. They got pissed at a drop of a dime. And they're always in water. Okay? Swimmers out, they gotta go piss every fucking minute. Come on, Alize. You could miss 1 test. We can understand. You went shopping. 2 tests. All right, girl. But 3, and then all of a sudden you're trying to act like if you're well away and available. No, that's not how it works. And don't come tell me that you got clean results. No, because you know what? You don't dope for the matches. You dope when you're not playing. Yep. When you're training, that's when you're dope. That's how it works, except for Maria Sharapova and Meldonium. She was taking that shit like spinach, Popeye spinach. So, yeah. Alize, I got nothing for you. But you know what, girl? No matter what, right?
What I don't understand, people keep saying there's no reason for 3 missed tests. There's no reason for 1 missed test, guys. It should never happen. Ever, ever, never. Ever.
Well, you can tell Alize that.
Listen, it's not bigger because it's 3. It should never happen.
Because they sign up for the rules.
The process is sort of it's a process in which you are participating. They didn't come at a time when you said you weren't available. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing is, if you discover you're unavailable, I think you're supposed to then let them know you were no longer available during this set period of time. So it's sort of strange to me that this is happening. I mean, so I'm curious to see what the final.
Now then,
here's the thing.
Say she was eating tortellini with Irani, and it's going to be all good.
But here's the general thing. Athletes really get
dopers in tennis.
Right, exactly. No, in general, dopers don't get punished. Generally,
right.
Dopers never fulfill their full ban. Myriad excuses are accepted all the time. You have to be really fucked up or they just don't like you in order for you to be banned completely. It's really what it is. So Alize, she just can't play Fed Cup. She gets to continue playing and they're going to deal with some arbitration. But I guess she might get off with a warning or some bullshit like that. Because, I mean, look, we've made so many exceptions now. The rule is, the exception has now become the rule.
Yep.
I mean, Tortellini showed up with some. I mean, like, come on now. Who the fuck cooks below their medicine cabinet? Who does that? Who the fuck does that? Ironic gets to say that shit. And no one, tennis doesn't drag that shit. And y'all gonna fucking write essays on scheduling? Get the fuck out of here. I got no time for you people. Y'all are crazy.
I ain't watching tennis no more. Fuck this shit.
Oh, stop. It is what it is.
You know, you're gonna try to tune in for Indian Wells. Get out of here. And you'll be tuning in for Fed Cup.
You're right.
You have a small kitchen, Tony. So do I. But my medicine is not above my pot. And if my medicine falls into my pot, I'm not cooking it.
Because you live in a tiny space. But Bree, we did not talk about Sharapova. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say about Sharapova. The problem with Sharapova is she's no longer doping, and she has been exposed as ordinary. She can't fucking hang anymore because she's not doping. End of story.
That is apparently the official Realz podcast position on that.
Fuck yeah, it is.
We'll see how that turns out.
Move your medicine, Tony.
But I'm just saying, right? But you know, like I remember, I think in cycling, one player said that he was a twin, and the twin died in his mother's womb,
right?
And yeah, and then you know, like he got the extra hormones because of that. I mean, like people come up with all kind of fucking excuse. To me, I really just wanted someone that says, you know what, I was doping. I beg for mercy and the leniency of the court. Beg for mercy. But you know what?
Because they all fucking do it. You know, athletes,
but you know what?
That's what they do.
But you know, humans are very strange creatures, because I know I've seen.
Show me the blood bags.
No. Oh yes. I don't want to talk about it, but I've seen like where they have footage of people committing crimes, like literal footage into the store. But no, that's not me stealing.
That's not me. I didn't do it. That wasn't me. It wasn't me.
No, I mean, look. Nah, if you keep deny,
eventually you believe yourself, right?
Because I mean, come on. If I don't know if many of you read Maria Sharapova's defense to the sports of arbitration. That shit said nothing. There was nothing in there but words. There was no rationale. There was no logic. They just said, you know what? Boom. We're going to change it. We're going to change our mind. And even from the jump, she wasn't even exposed to 4 years. She was never going to get 4 years, despite the fact that she never showed them the pills. She was in straight up lying. She could every time
we can't do this again. We've already done it.
I mean,
but I'm just saying. So I'm thinking for Alize Cornet, I'm going to imagine she probably gets 2 months at the most, and a warning.
It'll be time already served.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my God! We have people not jumping on Roofgate, but they're going to go with the preferential scheduling idea. So we're going to have to leave you with.
You're all roofers. They're all roofers.
I mean, we're going to leave you with preferential scheduling. You know what? At the end of the day, we're going to look back, and no one's going to remember the preferential scheduling. Nobody's going to remember that Rafa got his last slam playing Kevin Anderson. Nobody's going to remember what happened with the roofs or the not roofs. None of that's going to matter. Only in this moment can we get angsty and agita about it, you know? And you know what? You're right. I don't know. You know what? Let me just admit that out loud. I'm a Federer fan. I don't know what it's like to not have preferential treatment, I guess. That's just the way it is.
It's Federer privilege.
Federer has
which
privilege.
Is also somewhat white.
It is. It's Federer privilege.
Just to put that out there.
And we got to attack all the privilege we see. So if the privilege allowed Federer, if the privilege of preferential scheduling allowed Federer to capture 20, then that must be part of the story. So we're gonna let that be the story.
I want more.
It is what it is, hon. You can't fight the fight. You gotta let privilege. You know, sometimes privilege.
You know
works
what?
that way.
If it's preferential treatment, tell your faves to do better. Just tell them.
No,
you can't say. You know, I heard someone.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I don't follow football. I don't follow American football. But someone was talking about. I think the Patriots gonna play Super Bowl. Tony's gonna be like, yes, Realz. It's the Patriot, and I think it's Tom Brady. I think it's his quarterback. Oh, anyway, the woman said, I don't like Tom Brady. I don't like the Patriots, basically, a sports commentator. She said, you know what? They win fucking matches. They win fucking games. They get the job done. They have built a dynasty. And you can't be mad that they built a dynasty doing shit.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
let me give Realz a little tiny bit of education as to why people don't like the Patriots and Tom Brady.
Look, wait, before you say that, Brady is a trumper. I hate the motherfucker, and I don't really care to know about him.
I don't care. We're going to talk about him as an athlete
And
for
they're
2
cheaters
seconds.
too.
Listen, he's 40 years old. He's not supposed to still be doing what he's doing. People hate him for the same exact reason they can't stand that Federer is still around and at the top, and that is the truth. That's all I'm going to say about that. Well, the other thing is that people forget that the quarterback is being protected, right? Everybody else get their ass kicked for the sake of the quarterback. I watch football. No. I watch football. I am a fan. Tom Brady is fucking amazing. As an athlete, he is good as fuck. It cannot be denied. The only way that I can make you understand how good he is to tell you that he is on the same level as Roger Federer. That's it. That's the only thing that's because I know you don't watch. He is a trumper. He absolutely is, but he is a phenomenal athlete.
I don't give Trumpers any kind of credit. That's my policy. We can debate that. That is something we can debate. Okay.
Well, listen,
the different tennis angle, we can debate that.
No, we know what it is. You know, at the end of the day, Federer won Wimbledon 2012 because the roof closed. And at the end of the day, Federer won the Australian Open.
Wasn't because Mario was bitching and moaning when he was in the winning position? Because that's what I remember.
No, it's because it was a roof closed. And Federer won because of preferential scheduling. There's always a reason. So, which is good. I really like knowing those things because I think it helps. It helps to know exactly why someone won matches that they before they even competed. It was just a given. And so I think it's good to know that. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're going to take it. We're going to take those 20.
Yes, 20.
We're going to take the 20. And it's good to it's good to be at 20. I'm sure Rafa is working out his knee issues, and he'll be back to defend that French Open title like it was no business, and we'll see what kind of treatment he gets.
I'm sorry. Correction.
That slam doesn't have
Nadal doesn't defend the French Open. Nadal goes to collect his French Open.
Oh shit!
Let's go collect it. It's his. We got a trophy there for it.
But you know, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. That's going to be our next live show. Is going to be during the French, right?
I love how Andrew's totally cutting us off.
Yeah. I'm like, let's do it. Let's go.
She's done. I'm done too. I'm fine with it.
Right, we're gonna celebrate.
And we have a possible exciting tournament.
Conspiracies is to enjoy the conspiracy, invite them in, and then love it. You know what I mean? I love it. Influential.
Obama was born in Kenya. He totally was born in Kenya.
Yes. Preferential treatment is what makes Federer win matches. It's not because he's skilled at what he does. It's just what it is.
The press all conspire to like Federer, and they don't ever put out any of his crazy shit. So you don't know that he is only sleeping with Merker. You know,
I mean, I know that the
secret.
Press,
I
know that the same press asked Federer to retire many, many times and have decided that Rafa was the best ever many, many times. And it told
they're totally rethinking that now.
No. DJ Sama. No. We're not gonna leave y'all hanging. The next live broadcast. Oh yes, I'm sorry, it's true. Don't fuck it up. DJ Sama is absolutely correct.
What?
We do have a live show for Miami Sizzle. We do have a live show.
Oh my God! I was going to suggest we do it live. Yes, we do. So that everybody can give us their top.
I mean, we're a bunch of thoughts.
But we're not doing that this year.
Yeah, we are, right?
We're retiring that.
No, are we?
Girl,
no, I'm kidding. I just have such a hard time with it. I have such a hard time with it every time.
I know you do,
but you're all here for Franny when it comes to Rome. I'm not here for that shit. No.
This is the only.
I gotta suffer through Rome, and you gotta suffer through Miami.
It's the only time we believe in pitting the WTA against the ATP. That's the only time we believe in that is in their hotness level, because that's the only thing that matters is how hot they are, really. So
who do you want to give?
I don't give a shit about any of this stuff, because guess what? We're not doing a referendum on women's or men's tennis ever on this podcast. We like them both sometimes. Okay.
Oh my
That's
God.
not going to be ever a part of our thing. So
so we'll be back live for the Miami Sizzle. Okay, fine. Noted.
Miami Sizzle live. So that means
get your top six together. And if it's really, really, really good, if it's really, really, really good, you can come on live and say it
And
Loud
defend
and
it.
say it proud.
Defend it.
We always have a guest for that show. Always.
And then the top 6 women we decide to talk about in Rome, since that's really the only tournament that seems to get excited.
Look, people don't forget, because of a Realz Miami sizzle, he brought 2 scrubs into the big fold. PCB? Realz was on PCB bandwagon for a very long time.
Tony, you know you love
and
that
I was
show.
on Chung. So come on now.
Now, I'm telling
Realz.
you, expand your horizon. Expand your horizon, straight boys. You can think of hot. You can think of hot
guess
boys.
people, I check out challenges, and I can't say shit about scheduling. I can't say shit about coke assignment, because everybody playing the same fucking shitty coke. Get the fuck out of here.
So,
look, you think Federer? You think Federer playing is getting mad? Their mother can see them on TV. Their mama can see them on TV. Okay, Marcus Willis. You think Marcus Willis wanted to play on court 18? Get the fuck out of here. Y'all need to have a seat. Have a seat.
I love you, Tony.
Seats. I think it's okay.
Shut your roof.
I think it's okay. Everyone is Federer has played on every single court, because there was a time when Federer nobody knew who he was. So that's just what happens.
What in your dude? Winning covers a multitude of shit. Just so you know.
I think it's time to go.
That was
all
fun,
right,
y'all.
then, folks.
Thank you.
Fun. I hope you enjoyed, as Tony said, all 12 hours of our live podcast. And for those who listen, hating motherfuckers, go check out Tennys Watchers if you want to see what's happening for the rest of the week.
Okay.
So, thank you very much for everyone listening. And
motherfucker burn. Burn, motherfucker. Burn.
Goodbye. Children, listen to our podcast. You have a child in your house. What's wrong with you? So thank you for listening. Now, don't forget to comment below at all of the places, on iTunes and Podbean, on YouTube. We enjoy all of you, and thank you, fans, and thank you all of Fed fans. Deb, thank you for putting in a prayer circle. Now we just gotta work harder for Venus for French Open, because she deserves number 8. Federer can be a fucking 20, and Venus is still stuck at 7.
And use your
Serena.
This is your last opportunity to use your code at tenniswatchers.com. Realz Down Under for
15% off.
15% off, or was it 20? I don't know, but this is it.
It's 50.
Hurry up.
I'm trying to give away Tony's money. What's wrong with you, friend?
Buy the calendar so we can extend this partnership. We need 5 sales today. Go now. Tenniswatchers.com. Good night.
Good night, folks.